semi-conscious with her cycle besides her, and they went and recovered her. When they asked her, she could barely speak, but she did tell that 3 people were there who had allegedly raped her, and then they informed the police. The police recovered her, brought her to the hospital. There was huge there's a lot of sentiments now there. There are a lot of protests started even from last night itself, and today there is a local area Bandh there in Dhing. All the market and shops are closed. The All Assam Students Union has given the call for Bandh, and all the other civil society groups are supporting this. In fact, people have come out, locals have come out asking justice for this victim, and also asking that the police should act fast. The culprits who are absconding are to be nabbed quickly. That's the demand they have placed to the police. We have spoken to the senior police officials of the district. They are saying that there are 3 suspects whom they are looking for, and they are hopeful that they will be able to nab these suspects very soon. But the girl at this moment is recovering under medical treatment. She has gone back her consciousness, which is a good sign, and therefore her statement would be recorded by police when she is in a position to give her statement. But this incident really comes in the wake of the countrywide protest across the country against the brutal rape and murder of the female junior doctor in Kolkata. And now in Assam, this brutal incident has taken place where this girl has been allegedly raped by 3 suspects who now the police says are absconding, but they are trying to nab them.
Student union there has called for a ban, so shops, markets and educational institutions continue to remain closed as a mark of protest. And more tragic news coming in, and this is from Pune. A school van driver has been accused of sending inappropriate messages to a student. The situation escalated when the student reported the continuous harassment, and an FIR has now been registered against the driver under the POXO Act at the Deccan police station, and the accused has been thrashed by MNS workers before being handed over to the police. My colleague Radhika joins us on the phone line. Radhika, take us through what were these messages that this van driver was sending out to that poor student, who then finally had no option but to report that continuous harassment that she was facing by this van driver. Visuals on your screen of this school van driver being thrashed by MNS workers. This is before he was handed over to the police for sending inappropriate messages to a school student. So this is the girl who finally had to take action. She has reported of that continuous harassment where he kept sending her messages on her phone as well as on social media. This school bus driver who started sending inappropriate messages to that school girl before he was finally arrested. An FIR has been registered against the driver. He has now been booked under the POXO Act at the Deccan police station. The accused, as you can see on your screen, he was thrashed by the MNS workers. This comes at a time when there is a complete outrage when it comes to safety and security of women in the country, and another case of a man trying to take advantage of sending inappropriate messages to a poor school student. And staying with news from Maharashtra, after Badlapur, now an alleged rape has taken place in Kolhapur. The body of a 10-year-old girl was found in a sugarcane field of Kolhapur of Maharashtra. The girl was, she had left her house after she had had a fight with her uncle over excessive use as far as a phone is concerned. It is the uncle apparently who took her into that field, and this was just about 800 meters from her house. And well, it is the body that has been sent for a post-mortem examination. She was sexually assaulted and strangulated is what the confession says of the uncle who confessed during interrogation. Very shocking incident from Kolhapur in Maharashtra, where a 10-year-old girl was allegedly sexually assaulted and killed by her family member, her own distant uncle. Now, as far as this case is concerned, this girl went missing from her residence in a village in Kolhapur on Wednesday, and there was a search
operation that was carried out after her parents complained to the police, and almost a day later her body was found in a sugarcane field. She was allegedly sexually assaulted. She was strangled to death is what the police have said. Of course, her body was sent to post-mortem, which revealed these details, post which of course investigations were carried out. Probe team was formed, after which several people were questioned, and CCTV evidence established that it was in fact her uncle who was staying with the family for quite some time, who had allegedly committed this crime. Of course, he's been arrested under relevant sections of the POCSO Act. Now, Devendra Fadnavis, who's the Home Minister of Maharashtra as well as the Deputy CM, has promised strict action as far as the accused is concerned, and all this coming in the backdrop of post the Kolkata horror as well as the incident in Badlapur, where 2 minor kids were sexually assaulted in their school. Of course, protests have erupted as a result of, Badlapur. Now, another incident in Kolhapur. Of course, the case has been registered and the accused has been arrested.
And more tragic news in regard to a 22-year-old man now has been arrested for kidnapping and raping a 4-year-old girl in the national capital. The incident that took place had local residents gather outside the house of the accused and set the house on fire. The accused allegedly lured the young girl with a sweet and kidnapped her at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon in broad daylight. POCSO case has now been registered against the accused, who has been apprehended. In other news now, let's get you the very latest. This is in regard to market regulator SEBI that has barred industrialist Anil Ambani and 24 other entities, including former key officials of Reliance Home Finance, from the securities market for 5 years for diversion of funds from the company. SEBI has imposed a penalty of 25 crore rupees on Anil Ambani and restrained him from being associated with the securities market, including as a director or key managerial personnel in any listed company. And to get more on this, we have Charu joining us. Charu, it is Anil Ambani who has now been banned by SEBI, and the grounds on which he's been banned is what they're saying is that Anil Ambani used his position as a chairperson to orchestrate the fraud.
So the Security and Exchange Board of India came up with an order on Thursday evening, and Anil Ambani along with 24 entities have been fined. This also includes Reliance Home Finance Limited, which has been fined for rupees 6 lakh, whereas Anil Ambani has been fined for around 25 crores, and all the other entities, over 20 entities, have all been each fined to the tunes of 24 crore rupees each, which takes a total to over 600 crores in fines. Why they have been fined? So SEBI had gotten a lot of complaints that there has been some financial misconduct for the year 2018 to 19 in RHFL, and on behalf of several higher execs of the company as well as on part of Anil Ambani. And SEBI investigated these and found that there were several irregularities, no field investigation in terms of the loans given, the loan amount surging from year 2017-18 from 3,700 to almost 8,600 in the next year. And these pointed to the finger that there was, yes, some procedural and other documentation related irregularities, because of which he has been fined.
Right. Thank you so much, Aru, for joining us with all those details. Switching tracks now to Brij Bhushan, who will, in fact, he has arrived at the Rouse Avenue court. This is a case that is coming up. Do remember that a woman wrestler will be testifying against Brij Bhushan in court today, and Brij Bhushan has arrived. And do remember, just yesterday, it was Vinesh Fogart who had alleged that security was withdrawn just ahead of that key hearing. This is after the court asked for security to be reinstated. It is the Delhi police that has gone on to clarify, saying that they had in fact passed on the responsibility to the police in Haryana, given the fact that most of the wrestlers are from Haryana. So very key case that is coming up in the court today in regard to that crucial hearing against Brij Bhushan. It is one of the 3 wrestlers that will be testifying against Brij Bhushan in court today. And of course, there was a major concern regarding the security of the wrestlers, and it is Vinesh Fogart who brought that up, but it is the Delhi police who has gone ahead and said that it was the Haryana police's responsibility, and there was a delay as far as taking charge of the police is concerned, which is why they saw that a bit of a delay as far as the security personnel is concerned in showing up to provide the kind of security that is required by the three wrestlers, one of whom will be testifying. Those are visuals on your screen, live visuals coming in of Brij Bhushan arriving in court at that district court in order for that case against him. So it is Vinesh Fogart who had brought up the situation regarding the security cover, expressing concerns as far as the withdrawal of the security by the authority is concerned, and the court there issued an interim order directing immediate reinstatement of the security, but it was the police in Delhi that went on to claim that it was the Haryana police that has taken charge, and there was sort of a bit of a delay in taking charge. And switching tracks now, the Supreme Court has postponed the hearing on Arvind Kejriwal's petition. The court will now be hearing the case on the 5th of September. And why has the court now asked for more time? And that is because the CBI has asked for more time. Do remember that Arvind Kejriwal has filed 2 petitions challenging the validity as far as the arrest and seeking bail in the case is concerned. The CBI has responded on one of the petitions, but for the second petition, the CBI has requested for more time to file a response. The court has given the CBI now a time of about 7 days to submit that response to the second petition. Do remember earlier on the 12th of July this year, the court had granted the Chief Minister of Delhi interim bail in the Enforcement Directorate case related to the liquor policy scam. However, Arvind Kejriwal continued to be in the custody, and that was because he was then arrested in the CBI case. And we have Sunil joining us. Sunil, from what we were really expecting as far as Arvind Kejriwal's bail plea is concerned, that perhaps he would get some sort of relief given the fact that Manish Sisodia is out of jail. But now the court has given the CBI more time to file its response.
Well, this is part of a legal strategy from the CBI, where they had Mr. Raju, who represents the CBI, had given its reply to only one part, that is about the bail plea, but not on the squashing of the the FIR and the arrest per se. So it's on that ground that he sought more time, and finally the court had to grant time for him to give a reply. Mr. Kejriwal's lawyer, Mr. Singhvi, made a plea saying that I will argue even without the right to a rejoinder, and saying that we will take it from there. But it's on that basis that now it's been posted for the 5th of September to finally, hopefully, decide on that matter. And then, of course, whether he'll reserve orders or immediately take a decision, that is something that we'll have to wait and see. But these are, what is it called, tariq per tariq, date after date, and Mr. Kejriwal will have to wait for another 14 more days.
Right, of course, all eyes on that hearing that will now take place next month on the 5th. Thank you so much, Sunil, for joining us with those details. Moving on now, Kamala Harris accepted her presidential nomination at the DNC. She directly addressed Israel's war in Gaza in her acceptance speech, pledging that she will continue to support Israel and advocate for the well-being of Palestinians as Democrats continue to face pressure from progressively as far as Biden's administration's staunch support for the Israeli government is concerned. She also hit out at Donald Trump, calling him an unserious man, and the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in White House would be extremely serious. Of course, Donald Trump also hit back and said that it is Kamala Harris who led the United States into a failing nation. And also, while talking about her mother, Shamla Gopalan, she went on to call her tough and courageous, who always told her, do not always complain about injustice, but go ahead and take some action, do something about it. Let's listen in to Kamala Harris.
Consider his explicit intent to set free violent extremists, the power he will have, especially after the United States Supreme Court just ruled that he would be immune from criminal prosecution. Donald Trump tried to throw away your votes, but America, we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. We are not going back to when Donald Trump tried to cut Social Security and Medicare. We are not going to let him eliminate the Department of Education that funds our public schools. America, we are not going back. Now is the time to get a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done. And let me be clear, I will always stand up for Israel to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7. What has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating. President Biden and I are working to end this war such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination. Opportunity is not available to everyone. That's why we will create what I call an opportunity economy where everyone has the chance to compete and a chance to succeed. Whether you live in a rural area, small town, or big city. And as president, I will bring together labor and workers and small business owners and entrepreneurs and American companies to create jobs, to grow our economy, and to lower the cost of everyday needs like health care and housing and groceries. As a part of his agenda, he and his allies would limit access to birth control, ban medication abortion, and enact a nationwide abortion ban with or without Congress. And get this, he plans to create a national anti-abortion coordinator and force states to report on women's miscarriages and abortions. Simply put, they are out of their minds. And one must ask, why exactly is it that they don't trust women? Well, we trust women. We trust women.
Yeah, her message here, and I'll have to apologize. We have helicopters flying above us here at the United Center here in Chicago. So, to answer your question, yeah, she wants to be a uniter in chief. She wants to be a president for all Americans, and I think that she's trying to make sure that that's the clear message that she's sending. That she is the candidate who wants to unite, wants to be the person who brings about perhaps a commonality amongst Americans. I think some of the things that were notable, though, in the speech that she gave tonight was that she didn't appear to avoid any of the topics, which are going to be things that she's going to have to address, not only on the campaign trail, but in an upcoming debate with the Republican nominee, former President Donald Trump. You know, she talked about support for Israel. She talked about self-determination for the Palestinians. She talked about her concerns about relationships that Donald Trump has with leaders like North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin. But perhaps one of the most endearing moments of the night was her expressing her relations about her mother and her history and her own personal biography. And, you know, she spoke a lot about her mother and the lessons that her mother instilled in her, and how those lessons are going to be things that she applies to how she's going to lead the country if she becomes the president. And so I think that this is also an important opportunity for her to maybe introduce herself. Obviously, she's been the vice president since 2021. But this is also a moment for her to reach out to the general American population who might be watching this at home, who isn't a Republican or isn't a Democrat. They might be an independent voter, and they want to learn more about who she is and what she stands for. This is the beginning of that process for some of them who she'll have to reach between now and November 5th on election night. And also, early voting starts in the United States in just a couple of weeks in September in some states. So, the clock is ticking and they have less than 80 days now to reach those voters and get out there on the campaign trail.
Right. Thank you so much, Kane, for getting us all those details. Switching tracks now, ISRO chief has promised to land Indians on the moon by 2040. He was speaking to NDTV on the sidelines of the National Space Day. India celebrating the first anniversary of Chandrayaan 3's highly successful soft landing on the moon last August as the National Space Day. Let's listen into this special interview with my colleague, Pallav Bakla.
It's almost a year since India landed closer to the south pole of the moon through Chandrayaan 3. Prime Minister Narendra Modi designated that as the National Space Day. I have with me Dr. S. Somnath, Chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization. Dr. Somnath, excited to be celebrating landing on Shiva Shakti point?
Definitely, it is 1 year after the historic event. 23rd of August 2023 still is such a beautiful day for us. The landing of Chandrayaan 3, the Vikram on near the southern pole of moon, and we are rekindling those spirit, enthusiasm of those days for the next generation of people.
What was your feeling on that day, that moment when the feather-like touchdown happened?
See, this was very much expected. As far as I am concerned, we were hoping that to happen. As I had told, even before the landing, I was presenting this to some of the university students that this time we are going to make it happen. So I was at ease, and I was just happy to see the joy of my teammates rejoicing that landing, and including our Honorable Prime Minister connected online to us watching this live.
Well, your name itself, Somanath, means Lord of the Moon, and the smile which we saw that day was amazing. I mean, coming soon after a failure when we tried landing. Now, going beyond, we also have a Chandrayaan 4. What is Chandrayaan 4, and when will that happen?
Chandrayaan 4 is a precursor to what we are ultimately want to do, sending human beings to moon and bring them back safely. If you are to do that, we must have ability to go to moon, but also take off from the moon like a rocket, go to the orbit of the moon, come back to Earth's orbit and return back to surface of Earth. So if this has to happen, we must do it in a scaled model level, which is nothing but Chandrayaan 4. Here, instead of human beings, we are actually sending the craft up there, collecting samples from the moon surface and bringing back, which will have a scientific purpose also. So with the available capability of launchers and available capability and a low expense mission, we can plan a Chandrayaan 4 to prove all the technology as well as the software component of that such a mission, ultimately human spaceflight mission to moon.
That is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi envisages by 2040.
2040, yes. So we have to do it in another 2 years to prove the precursor of such a capability, so that we will be preparing for a big scale for the mission.
And we also have in between a mission with Japan?
We are working on that. We have not yet finalized it. That's something called the Mpox mission. We call it Chandrayaan 5, maybe the next of the Chandrayaan, where we want to send a rover of big size, that is at least 10 times bigger than the one which we sent on Chandrayaan. Pragyan. And that rover has to go there and land in the very closer to the South Pole, much closer than the earlier one, looking for the traces of water, life, etc.
So, with Chandrayaan 4, are we again going to target nearer to Shiva Shakti point? Because that now seems like the hallmark for India and the Indian, in a way, an Indian territory on the moon.
Yeah, that area is really good. One, because we found many new features. And it is something that we can work on for 14 days light available. It has more scientific observation reasons for going there. So it looks like the next mission also we should do it there. Going to equator is much more easier. This is not that easy. So it also is more challenging, but it is more potential of scientific exploration lies there. So that's why it is interesting.
So that was Dr. S. Somnath, Chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization, speaking about a revisit to the moon and India going back to the area of Shiva Shakti Point nearer the south pole of the moon. That is the area which is exciting not just India but the world. India created history with Chandrayaan 1 and also with Chandrayaan 3. And the National Space Day is to celebrate that big achievement. With camera person Azam Siddiqui in New Delhi, Pallav Bagla for NDTV.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
This week on India Ascends.
Prime Minister Modi in Ukraine. Is New Delhi now a key voice in global conflicts? DNC nominates Kamala Harris to take on Donald Trump. Can the selected candidate woo the fence-sitters? And India's new data protection norms, will they help keep pace with the AI transition?
All this and more only on India Ascends with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
This week on India Ascends.
Prime Minister Modi in Ukraine. Is New Delhi now a key voice in global conflicts? DNC nominates Kamala Harris to take on Donald Trump. Can the selected candidate woo the fence-sitters? And India's new data protection norms, will they help keep pace with the AI transition?
All this and more only on India Ascends with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live.
Hi.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Osama Shah, but there is a lot lined up on the show today. The crimes against women, they seem to continue with 4 incidents being reported in the last 24 hours. We'll get you all of that, but first, let's take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Kiev amid the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Prime Minister arrives with S. Jaishankar as well as NSA Doval. Prime Minister Modi, in fact, met the Indian diaspora in Kiev. He is also set to meet the President, Zelenskyy, in Kiev. A woman wrestler set to testify against the ex-Wrestling Federation of India chief Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh today. In the meanwhile, Vinesh Phogat, she alleges security was withdrawn ahead of the key hearing. Now, after the court intervened, Delhi police reinstate the wrestler's security. The crimes against women continue in the country. 4 incidents reported in just 24 hours. In Kolkata, a minor girl was raped and murdered. Her uncle is the accused in Pune. A school van driver has been booked under the POXO for obscenity. In Assam, a minor was allegedly gang raped as the locals now threaten protests. And in the national capital, a woman was raped. The home of the accused set on fire. 14 people are feared dead as well as 17 injured in a Nepal bus accident. 40 Indians were on board that bus that plunged into a river in Nepal. The bus was en route from Kathmandu to Pokhara. Kamala Harris accepts Democratic nomination at the DNC. She calls Donald Trump an unserious man, but the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious. Trump hits back and says Kamala Harris led US into a failing nation. Kamala Harris also remembered her mother, Shyamala Gopalan, calling her tough and courageous. But the top story that we are tracking at this hour is the Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, the ex-chief of the Wrestling Federation of India. He has arrived at the Rouse Avenue court. A woman wrestler, she is set to testify against Brij Bhushan today. In the meanwhile, Vinesh Phogat, she posted on her social media handle alleging that security was withdrawn ahead of the key hearing, and then after the court intervened, the Delhi police reinstated wrestlers' security. That hearing is set to happen in just a short while from now. The ex-Wrestling Federation of India chief Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, he is already there at the Rouse Avenue court. In fact, I'm currently joined all right. In fact, I'm currently joined by my colleague. What is exactly happening at this moment? Because what we can see is Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, he is already there at the court. What time is the hearing and what is expected today?
Right now, right. So the current update from the Rouse Avenue court is that the wrestler who has come to testify against Brij Bhushan Singh, she wants to give her statement in the witness room, and although the lawyer of Brij Bhushan Singh has opposed this and has said that the statement should not be given in the witness room. However, right now the main judgment will be at the hearing will be at 2 o'clock, and it will be entirely dependent on the comfort of the comfort of the person of the wrestler who is here at Rouse Avenue court to testify against Brij Bhushan Singh.
Shreya, the fact that Vinesh Phogat, she in fact posted on her social media handle and alleged that security was being withdrawn as far as that woman wrestler is concerned. What is the truth in that allegation, as well as what we can understand now is that the security has been reinstated?
Right. So the Delhi police stated this morning that it was a complete miscommunication, rather, and the no security was withdrawn. Rather, they were handing over the security to the Haryana police because the wrestlers, the protectees, normally reside there, and the security officers who were assigned, they reported late for work, and that is why this entire miscommunication happened. Although now, after the court intervened, the safety and security of the wrestlers who have levelled these sexual harassment allegations towards Brij Bhushan Singh, their safety and security has been put in place, and Delhi police said that they have that it was a miscommunication, and now their security is intact, and it will continue to be in place until further court orders.
All right, Shreya Ghosh, thank you very much for getting us all the latest from outside the Rouse Avenue Court, where the ex-Wrestling Federation of India chief Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, he is set to testify, and a woman wrestler, she's set to testify, and he has arrived at the court. Shreya, thank you very much for getting us all the latest. In fact, the crimes against women, they seem to continue in the country. In Assam, 3 men allegedly raped a 14-year-old girl. The girl was left on the road in a semi-conscious state in Nagaon district on Thursday evening. The girl was rescued by police in the Dhing area after receiving a tip-off from a passerby. In fact, what we understand is that she lost consciousness after being rescued, and now the girl is recovering in a hospital, is what the police sources have said. Now, according to these sources, the incident, it took place when the minor was returning home from her tuition in the evening. She was lying on the road without any clothing for around an hour before being rescued. Now, student unions, they have called for a ban. The minor was found in a semi-conscious state lying near a pond with her cycle beside her. Now, some local residents, they spotted the girl and immediately reported to the police. Now, as per the local reports, the incident took place when the minor was returning home from her tuition. In fact, in Dhing, Dhing will remain closed as a mark of protest. Police and paramilitary forces, they have been deployed in the area to enhance security measures during this period. Remember, from what we understand, this girl, she was returning back from her tuition when this incident occurred.
যোৱাকালি যি এক অমানৱীয় ঘটনা সংঘটিত হৈ গ'ল, তিনি পাখণ্ডই এগৰাকী নাবালিকা ছোৱালীক ধৰ্ষণ কৰি ৰাস্তাৰ কিনাৰত পেলাই থৈ গৈছে। এইটো আমি ধিং আঞ্চলিক ছাত্ৰ সন্থাই তীব্ৰ গৰিহণা দিছোঁ আৰু অনতিপলমে আৰক্ষী প্ৰশাসনক দাবী জনাইছোঁ যে অনতিপলমে তিনি পাখণ্ডক ধৰিব লাগে আৰু উচিত শাস্তি প্ৰদান কৰিব লাগে আৰু দুৰ্ভগীয়া ছোৱালীজনীক ন্যায় প্ৰদান কৰিব লাগে। আৰু আজি আমি ধিং আঞ্চলিক ছাত্ৰ সন্থাই বজাৰ সমিতিৰ সহযোগত ধিং বন্ধ ঘোষণা কৰিছোঁ আৰু অনিৰ্দিষ্টকালে যেতিয়ালৈকে অপৰাধী কৰায়ত্ব কৰিব নাই তেতিয়ালৈকে ধিং বন্ধ থাকিব।
What we have picked up from police sources is that the victim has started to recover. She is stable, although last night she was unconscious and therefore rushed to the hospital. Medical aid has been provided. Now the police is awaiting medical reports to ascertain whether it is a case of a rape or not. The allegations are that this girl, who is a student of class 10, 14-year-old, was returning home from her tuition classes alone on her bicycle when this incident took place in Dhing, which is part of Nagaon district in Assam. Now, we did play out those sound bites of those two youths who first saw her lying on the roadside and semi-conscious with her cycle besides her, and they went and recovered her. When they asked her, she could barely speak, but she did tell that 3 people were there who had allegedly raped her, and then they informed the police. The police recovered her, brought her to the hospital. There was a huge, there's a lot of sentiments now there. There are a lot of protests started even from last night itself, and today there is a local area Bandh there in Dhing. All the market and shops are closed. The All Assam Students Union has given the call for Bandh, and all the other civil society groups are are supporting this. In fact, people have come out, locals have come out asking justice for this victim, and also asking that the police should act fast. The culprits who are absconding are to be nabbed quickly. That's the demand they have placed to the police. We have spoken to the senior police officials of the district. They are saying that there are 3 suspects whom they are looking for, and they are hopeful that they will be able to nab these suspects very soon. But the girl at this moment is recovering under medical treatment. She has gone back her consciousness, which is a good sign, and therefore her statement would be recorded by police when she is in a position to give her statement. But this incident really comes in the wake of the countrywide protest across the country against the brutal rape and murder of the female junior doctor in Kolkata. And now in Assam, this brutal incident has taken place where this girl has been allegedly raped by 3 suspects who now the police says are absconding, but they are trying to nab them.
Now shifting our focus to Maharashtra, where after Badlapur, now an alleged rape and murder case has been reported in Kolhapur. Now, the body of a 10-year-old girl was found in a sugarcane field in Maharashtra's Kolhapur district. The girl, she left her house after she had a fight with her uncle over her excessive phone usage. The girl's uncle, he has been arrested for her alleged rape and murder, is what the police are saying. When she did not return home for a long time, her parents launched a frantic search to find her body in a sugarcane field just 800 meters from her house. The body has been sent for post-mortem examination. She was sexually assaulted and strangulated. The uncle, he confessed during the interrogation. So the body of a 10-year-old has been found in a sugarcane field in Kolhapur, and her uncle has been accused of sexually assaulting and strangling her to death. In fact, my colleague Radhika joins us to get us more on this. Radhika, this doesn't seem to stop at the moment from first that horrific incident in Badlapur, and now what we are hearing is that there has been a similar sort of an incident in Kolhapur, where a girl, a 10-year-old girl, she has been found murdered.
That's a very, very disturbing incident where a 10-year-old girl allegedly sexually assaulted, killed in a village in Kolhapur. In fact, this incident happening on Wednesday. She went missing on Wednesday. Her body was found on Thursday in a sugarcane field close to her house. Her body was discovered only the next day after she went missing by her family members as well as the police. After the body was sent for post-mortem, it was revealed that she was strangled and sexually assaulted. Now, a probe was launched post that, and her uncle has been arrested in connection to the case. The police say that he has confessed to the crime. The girl's family belongs to Bihar, and the incident took place in Ramnagar area of Shie village in Kolhapur. The uncle sexually assaulting this girl, strangling her to death. Very, very disturbing details. All this post-Kolkata horror, as well as a Badlapur case where 2 girls, 2 minor kids were sexually assaulted by a cleaner. Of course, Home Minister of the state and Deputy CM Devendra Fadnavis, in fact, assuring of strictest action to the accused in this case as well.
Right, Radhika Ramaswamy, stay with us, because in Pune, a school van driver, he has been accused of sending inappropriate messages to a student. The student escalated when the student reported the continuous harassment. An FIR has been registered against the driver under the POXO Act at the Deccan police station, and the accused has been thrashed by MNS workers as well before being handed over to the police. From what we can see on your screens, the MNS workers there thrashing this man who allegedly sent obscene messages to this girl. The van driver, he has been accused the accused van driver, he has been handed over to the police as well. Radhika is still there with us. Radhika, give us the details of this particular story. From what we understand, this man, a school van driver, he has been accused of sending inappropriate messages to a student.
That's right. This is a complaint filed by a female student. She's complained that her school van driver allegedly misbehaved with her. He spoke to her inappropriately and sent her inappropriate text, is the complaint, after which the police immediately launched a probe and has arrested the school van driver under POCSO Act. In fact, post this incident, MNS took law into their hands and started beating up this school van driver, as well as started vandalizing some of the property in the school. After this incident, there's something similar happened in Badlapur as well, where the protesters took to the street post the entire sexual assault case, which led the state government to take multiple measures as well. Now, of course, police in this case has launched an investigation against the school van driver. He has been arrested and charged under POCSO, but again, a disturbing incident. This is coming from Pune this time.
All right, Radhika Ramaswamy, thank you very much for getting us all the latest in that story from what Radhika was telling us. A van driver has been accused of sending obscene messages to this student. He has now been handed over to the police. And in Delhi, a 22-year-old man, he was arrested by the Delhi police for kidnapping and raping a 4-year-old girl in the Shahbad Dairy area. Now, angered by this incident, the local residents, they gathered outside the accused's house and set fire to the area to express their outrage. Now, this accused, he allegedly lured the young girl with a sweet and kidnapped her at around 3 p.m. in broad daylight. A POCSO case has been registered. The accused has been apprehended. In fact, my colleague Mukesh joins us to get us more on this. Mukesh, what are the details of this story? From what we understand, this man, he has been accused of kidnapping and raping this young girl.
देखिए, ये जो घटना है ये 2 दिन पहले की है, जब शाहबाद डेयरी इलाके में जो 4 साल की बच्ची है उसको एक शख्स ने टॉफ़ी दिलाने के बहाने किडनैप कर लिया था और दोपहर में करीब 3 बजे किडनैप किया। उसके बाद उसको अपने साथ में अपने घर ले गया और 3 घंटे तक वहाँ रखा। उसके बाद बच्ची को छोड़ा। घर वालों का एलिगेशन ये है कि बच्ची के साथ जो है सेक्सुअली असॉल्ट उसको किया गया। बच्ची को पुलिस ने बच्ची को अस्पताल में भर्ती कराया, जहां पर उसकी मेडिकल जांच हुई, जिससे प्रूव हुआ कि बच्ची को सेक्सुअली असॉल्ट किया गया है। इसके बाद पुलिस ने पॉक्सो के तहत केस दर्ज करके इस मामले में जांच शुरू की। लेकिन चूँकि जो विक्टिम है और जो एक्यूज़ड है वो अलग अलग कम्युनिटी से आते हैं, इसी चलते जो इलाके में नाराज़ लोग थे उन्होंने बीती रात जो आरोपी का घर है वो जला दिया, उसको आग के हवाले कर दिया। जो आरोपी है उसका फिलहाल जो पुलिस है वो कोर्ट में बयान दर्ज करा रही है और इस मामले में आगे की जांच कर रही है। लेकिन इस घटना को लेकर लोगों में काफ़ी गुस्सा है। जी।
All right, Mukesh, thank you very much for getting us all the latest in that particular story. And in fact, shifting our focus to the Kolkata rape and murder probe, Sandeep Ghosh, he is being questioned for the 8th straight day by the Central Bureau of Investigation, or the CBI. It had submitted a status report in the Supreme Court in its probe into the rape murder of a woman doctor at the Kolkata hospital. This incident, remember, it had sparked nationwide strike by the doctors. A lot of these doctors' association, they have called off the strike, except for the doctors of the R.J. Kaur Medical College and Hospital, who are still continuing the protest. In fact, a bench led by the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, he had on Tuesday said that the nation cannot wait for another rape case for changes to occur on the ground, and constituted a national task force to ensure the safety of the doctors. The top court has in fact, is continuing to monitor this particular story. From the latest in that case is that Sandeep Ghosh, he is being questioned for the 8th straight day by the CBI. In fact, my colleague Tanushka joins us on the phone line. Tanushka, what are the details? This questioning, it has been going on for some time, and now Sandeep Ghosh is being questioned for the 8th straight day.
Well, Osama, the main accused in the case, Sanjay Roy, has been brought here to the Sialda court for his hearing. He has been in police custody. Remember, he was arrested by the Kolkata police, and he has been named as the prime accused in the rape and murder case at the R.J. Kaur Medical Hospital of this young trainee doctor. defending him, that is the representative for the accused, is Kavita Sarkar, and this is the toughest case in a 25-year-old legal career. She was asked by the Sialda court herself to defend the Arjikar rape murder accused Sanjay Roy because no other lawyer was ready to defend his case. She is the only state legal services authority standing lawyer in the Sialda court, which is why she is appearing for this main accused in the case, Sanjay Roy. Currently, he's been brought in to the Sialda court, and the hearing is still on. Outside the Sialda court and even inside, there is high security. Security has been completely amped up here with not just CISF forces, but Kolkata police and even the rapid action forces. There's a group of protesters here as well, protesting in the rain, demanding for capital punishment for the rape and murder accused Sanjay Roy.
All right. Tanushka Datta, thank you very much for getting us all the latest in that story. So the accused is being brought to the court right now, and the ex-principal of the RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital, he is also being questioned for the 8th straight day. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he today arrived in war-hit Ukraine and is expected to share perspectives on peaceful resolution of the ongoing conflict when he meets President Vladimir Zelenskyy later in the day today. Now, the Poland Prime Minister Donald Tusk, he said India could play an essential and constructive role in resolving the Russia-Ukraine war. Prime Minister Modi's visit to Kiev comes nearly 6 weeks after his high-profile trip to Moscow, which triggered criticism from the United States and some of its Western allies. Now, this is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Ukraine. Remember, India has so far maintained a neutral stance in the Russia-Ukraine war, calling for dialogue and diplomacy in order to resolve this particular conflict. Prime Minister Modi, while referring to the Ukraine conflict, he had said that as a friend and partner, India hopes for an early return of peace and stability in the region. Remember, this is Prime Minister's power-packed visit to Ukraine, where he pledges to campaign for peace. Prime Minister, in fact, has a message for Russia as well as Ukraine, saying that the time has come to come together.
Well, whether he's got a proposal that's going to make a difference or not, that's something that we're going to have to wait and see. But there is very little doubt of the fact that, based on the statements that he's made in the past, that this is not an era for war, that the territorial sanctity of nations has to be preserved, that the UN Charter must be followed at any cost. It does seem to convey that India believes and India hopes that we can play a part in bringing an end to this conflict, which has resulted in the loss of tens of thousands of lives. Whether that actually can take place now, whether there'd be one big bang announcement, or perhaps the start of a process where India can use our political capital to sort of take a message from Ukraine across to Russia. That's something that we need to wait and see. The Prime Minister's arrived over here at 7:30 this morning. At 7:55 this morning, he actually was with the Indian diaspora. In fact, what I can try and do is just move my camera a little bit to try and show you, if I can, the diaspora which has been gathering over here for some time. And I'm just going to pan the camera gently so that you can see all of them gathering over here. This is after they met the Prime Minister. A lot of them, as you would imagine, quite enthused about that meeting. We did speak to them earlier on during the day, but a lot of them say, and we've seen this, that this is a real meeting which they welcome. It's one which they've been waiting for. There wasn't really a speech or anything that the Prime Minister gave a lot of these people. Instead, Prime Minister Modi did just sort of warmly greet them and then moved on and is getting ready for his meetings. And there will be that official meeting with President Zelenskyy. That's going to take place in a little while from now. He'll be officially greeted by the Ukrainian president. But in terms of any big takeaway announcements, I think we'll have to wait for a couple of hours. It's a very short visit, super high security. Air raid alarms have been going off yesterday. I think I heard one today as well. But it's in that environment that India's come with not just the Prime Minister. There's the External Affairs Minister, there's the Foreign Secretary, there's the National Security Advisor, the Secretary West in the External Affairs Ministry. So this is not just optics. There will be, something substantive by the end of the day. One of the finest scholars of Ukraine, and indeed this entire region, is Dr. Mridula Ghosh. She is with me now. She's been tracking this particular visit very, very closely, and there's a lot more. The visit is just about going to start. Thanks very much for speaking to us. What are your expectations of this?
My expectations are very high. First of all, I would say the visit is happening.
Yep.
It has already happened, and we are here waiting to meet our Prime Minister. Second, the very important thing is his coming to Poland and to Ukraine signals a definite shift and a definite focusing, I would say even refocusing of our foreign policy strategy towards the countries of East Europe, especially the new democracies which have emerged in the beginning of the 20th century with the enlargement of European Union and all these other things, So we are not being seen as a country which is, mistakenly taken by many people as purely a very anti-West or absolutely anti-Europe kind of thing. It's not so.
Yep.
And I believe that the historical aspect of these ties are getting revived, like you see in Poland.
Yeah.
We are reflecting on history, and which is very important. History is important for our relations. It's not just geopolitics.
No, it's not.
It's
but
very important.
The fact that the foreign minister is here traveling with him, the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, means it's more than just a photo op.
It is just more.
I mean, this is the entire, the Foreign Secretary, the entire Indian foreign, establishment, as it were, all over here, in a war zone.
Strategic elite. So it seems that we are interested, if we want to emerge as a global power, we just can't sit far and just talk about it. We have to be there and we have to see there. So, and I'm so happy that at least we can say that our leader traveled all the way with his top security and foreign policy people to a country which is ravaged by war. And in fact, 2 o'clock at night, we had another alert.
I must confess, I slept through it, but
you
which is not the wise thing to do.
You're a happy man, you sleep, because I cannot sleep if I hear the siren. And I don't know how many alerts will be there today, because we always wait for it. So anybody asks me, it's like, it's like a pulse with me, like it's always there, it's happening. So we are moving along this very delicate line, and I believe that peace is important, and I believe messages from the leadership is very important for Ukraine. We didn't sign the peace declaration, which was the communique, which was in Switzerland. Many other countries didn't.
Right.
But the biggest noise was made. Why didn't India sign? Because we are looked at from a different angle. There's a high level of expectation from India by the international community, especially the countries of East Europe. The countries of East Europe are very special, including Ukraine.
Indeed. Dr. Ghosh, thanks very much for speaking to me. Always a pleasure. Well, there you have it. Dr. Mridula Ghosh telling us a little bit about her expectations of this visit and the significance of it.
All right, time now for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. बनेगा स्वस्थ इंडिया. One World Hygiene.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
This week on India Ascends.
Prime Minister Modi in Ukraine. Is New Delhi now a key voice in global conflicts? DNC nominates Kamala Harris to take on Donald Trump. Can the selected candidate woo the fence-sitters? And India's new data protection norms, will they help keep pace with the AI transition?
All this and more only on India Ascends with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code. And drive.
Welcome back. News now from Karnataka, where the Karnataka High Court recently dismissed a woman's appeal for alimony of over rupees 6 lakhs per month. The judge, she refused to entertain the request, saying that if the woman wants to spend, let her earn. Now, during the hearing on Wednesday, the petitioner's counsellor, Advocate Akarsh Kanade, he requested to secure rupees 6 lakhs as monthly maintenance. Now, according to the petitioner, this amount was needed to fulfill basic needs such as bangles, chains, sandals, watches, etc. And in the video of that hearing, one could hear the judge say that if she wants to spend that money, let her earn herself.
As she is, as per the bank statements, as she is doing the share business, which is denied by the counsel appearing for the wife. The husband shall file all the documents on an with an affidavit and serve the same on the counsel appearing for the wife, and the wife shall file an affidavit along with, in the said affidavit, she also disclose her expenses also.
My lord,
on that, orders will be passed. Yes.
My lord, that is the expenditure anticipated by this court. That is that the petitioner expecting from this court. That is not incurred so far.
And markets regulator SEBI has barred industrialist Anil Ambani and 24 other entities, including the former key officials of Reliance Home Finance, from the securities market for 5 years for diversion of funds from the company. Now, SEBI has imposed a penalty of rupees 25 crore on Anil Ambani and restrained him from being associated with the securities market, including as a director or key managerial personnel in any listed company or any intermediary registered with the market regulator for a period of 5 years. Now, also the regulator barred Reliance Home Finance from the securities market for 6 months and slapped a fine of rupees 6 lakh on it. And news now coming in from Nepal, where a bus accident has taken place. This bus accident occurred in Nepal. This bus was carrying Indians that plunged into a river. 14 people, they are feared dead. and 17 have been injured in Nepal bus accident. Now, this bus was from India that plunged into the river. 40 Indians, they were on board when the bus plunged into the river in Nepal. Now, 14 Indian nationals, they have been pronounced dead. 17 have been injured in the bus accident. This bus was en route from Kathmandu to Pokhara is what we understand at the moment. And my colleague Prabhakar joins us to get us more on this. Prabhakar, what is the latest that you can tell us from what we understand? 14 Indian nationals have died so far.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a tourist bus and 40 Indians were on board and they had just checked out from one of the resorts at Pokhara. And this bus was en route from Pokhara to Kathmandu. So it was going from Pokhara to Kathmandu and this incident happened at Ambu Khairni. The names are slightly tongue twisting, so I'll read it for you. The Ambu Khairni is the place where this unfortunate incident has happened, and the river is called Masayan Gadi. Masayan Gadi is the river in which this bus actually fell down. We are told by the local superintendent of police of that particular district that 14 dead bodies have been fished out from the river and 17 injured people, they have been taken out. The rescue operation as we speak is still underway, and the officials of the Nepal police, the local Nepal army officials and also of their disaster relief force, they are all there in full force and they are trying to rescue people. All of them were, as of now what we learn is they were Indian nationals, they were tourists actually, and it was a tourist bus which had gone to Pokhara, and from there they were actually going to Kathmandu, and this unfortunate incident happened. This bus fell into the river, and it fell down around 100 feet deep. It went into the river, so the death toll might actually further increase.
All right, we'll keep tracking that story as it develops. Prabhakar, thank you very much for getting us all the latest from there. And news now from Tripura, where with the tragic deaths of 7 of 2 families that were killed in landslides due to heavy rain, death toll rises to at least 20 now. 2 persons, they are said to be still missing as Tripura braces its worst floods in a decade. Now, expressing his shock at the incident, Chief Minister Manik Saha, he said that the state government would provide rupees 4 lakh as financial assistance to each affected family. Earlier, 13 deaths, including that of a 12-year-old girl and a woman, were reported from South Tripura, Gomti and Khowai districts since Monday, and 2 persons, they were also said to be missing. Now, around 65,000, over 65,000 people, they are taking shelter in 450 relief camps in 8 districts. In fact, 17 lakh people, they have been affected in the entire state, which witnessed the devastating floods since Monday.
Overnight, the rains have weakened, particularly in some of the districts, but many of the districts, the situation remains very grim. All the 8 districts are affected by floods. In fact, almost 80% of the state is inundated. The South Tripura, Gomti and Dhalai district are very badly hit. In fact, the Chief Minister at this moment is taking an aerial survey of the affected areas. More NDRF teams are expected to reach Agartala, the state capital. In fact, Indian Air Force have now given their air assets to help NDRF and the state government to carry out rescue operation. Assam Rifles have joined forces with the state forces. Focus remains in terms of rescue of people. Remember, over 65,000 people have been rescued in the past 3 days. There have been 20 deaths. We are hearing of some people remaining missing. 17 lakh people have got affected. And remember, in last 6 decades, this is perhaps one of the worst floods that the state has witnessed. So somewhere maybe the people and the state machinery were not completely prepared for this, but now the focus remains in terms of the rescue operations. The air connectivity is still there, although they were waterlogging on the airport as well, and therefore the perimeter wall of the airport had to be breached to make passage for water to drain out so that the airport remains operational. Remember, Tripura is a landlocked state bordered by Bangladesh from 3 sides, and only it has border on one side with Assam. In fact, the national highway that links Tripura to Assam, which is its lifeline, is waterlogged in several places, disrupting traffic. Railway traffic is disrupted and deferred because of landslide in some areas. So therefore, the the complete, there is a complete standstill in terms of normal life. People are battling situations where we are seeing visuals on social media of people asking for help in many areas. People at this moment, are completely stranded with water as high as at the roof of a house. So therefore people are basically taking shelter in terraces in some of the areas. However, in low-lying areas, in some of the low-lying areas, water levels have started to recede. That's what we've been given to understand. But almost all the major rivers are still in full spate. So therefore this coming 24 to 48 hours will be very crucial. That's what Met Department is telling us, because there is still a warning of rain till Sunday or Monday.
News now from Uttarakhand, where rain has wreaked havoc. In fact, 4 bodies have been found from under debris near Khat Gadera in Rudraprayag. The District Disaster Rescue Force was alerted about this incident around 1:20 a.m. and they immediately dispatched a rescue team. In fact, the Rudraprayag's Disaster Management Officer Nandan Singh Rajwal, he confirmed that the death of all 4 individuals. And my colleague Kishore joins us to get us more on this story. Kishore, what can you tell us about this incident? When did this happen? And from what we understand, 4 people have died in this incident.
बिल्कुल, ये जो चारों लोगों की डेथ हुई है, ये फाटा के पास जो केदारनाथ जाने वाला रास्ता है रुद्रप्रयाग में, वहाँ पर ये गदेरा होता है, यानी जो पहाड़ों में नदियाँ बहती है, ऊपर पहाड़ों से आती है, वहाँ पर ये किनारे काम कर रहे थे और उसी के बगल में ये सो रखे थे। लेकिन काफ़ी ऊपर बारिश हुई और बादल फटने जैसी घटना हुई, उसकी वजह से सारा जो लैंडस्लाइड है यानी वो इनको पर गिर गया और ये लगभग 4 लोग थे और चारों की डेथ हो गई। रात करीब 1:30 बजे का ये मामला है। उसके बाद SDRF ने वहाँ पे रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन किया, लेकिन जब इनको तक निकाला, ये चारों लोगों की डेथ हो चुकी थी और चारों लोग नेपाल के नागरिक हैं और यहाँ पर काम के सिलसिले में यहाँ पर आए थे और लगातार केदारनाथ में जिस तरीके से काम चल रहा है वहाँ पर नेपाली मूल के काफ़ी सारे नागरिक हैं। हालांकि इस घटना के बाद तमाम जो नदी के किनारे और तमाम जो काम चल रहे हैं उनको फ़िलहाल रोका गया है, क्योंकि मौसम विभाग ने जिस तरीके का अलर्ट दिया है कि राज्य में लगातार कई जगहों पर भारी बारिश की संभावना जताई है। खासकर बागेश्वर और देहरादून में ऑरेंज अलर्ट जारी किया है भारी बारिश का। इसके अलावा अन्य जो ज़िले हैं, यानी बाकी जो अगर ज़िलों की बात करें तो वहाँ पर येलो अलर्ट जारी किया है भारी बारिश का। लगातार अगर बात करें तो केदारनाथ रूट पे तो कई जगह पे मलबा आने और लैंडस्लाइड की वजह से सड़कें बंद है। इसके अलावा बद्रीनाथ के पास भी जो बद्रीनाथ हाईवे है उसके पास भी करीबन आधा दर्जन से जगहें ऐसी है जहाँ पर लैंडस्लाइड की वजह से रास्ते बंद है। नंदप्रयाग घाट के उधर काफ़ी बड़ा लैंडस्लाइड हुआ था। ये बात अच्छी रही कि ट्रैफिक नहीं चल रहा था, वरना बड़ा हादसा हो जाता। काफ़ी बड़ी चट्टानें सड़कों पर आ गई थी। इसके अलावा टिहरी के अगर क्षेत्र की बात करें तो वहाँ पर भी काफ़ी बड़े जगहों पर लैंडस्लाइड और भूस्खलन हुआ है। दूसरी बात यह है कि अलकनंदा और गंगा दोनों ही जो नदियां हैं दोनों ही खतरे के निशान से लगभग ऊपर बह रही है, क्योंकि ऊपरी इलाकों में काफ़ी बारिश हो रही है और अगले 48 घंटे जो बारिश की संभावना जताई है उससे इन नदियों का जलस्तर बढ़ सकता है और जिसकी वजह से उत्तराखंड से सटे जो राज्य है खासकर उत्तर प्रदेश, वहाँ पर जो बाढ़ वाली स्थिति हो सकती है। यही वजह है कि अलर्ट किया गया है कि नदियों के किनारे लोगों को ना जाएं और जो अभी गंगा और अलकनंदा का जो लेवल है, वाटर लेवल, वो काफ़ी ऊपर है। जी।
All right, crucial information there from Kishore Rawat, who has been reporting on this incident. Kishore, thank you very much for getting us all the latest. In fact, the Chamoli police, they had shared a video of the blocked Badrinath National Highway, and they have spoke about the highway and said that the highway is blocked due to debris near Nandaprayag, Chinka, Gulabkoti, Pagalnala and Kanchanala. And Kamala Harris accepted her presidential nomination at the Democrats' National Convention. She directly addressed the Israel's war in Gaza in her acceptance speech, pledging that she will continue to support Israel and advocate for the well-being of Palestinians as Democrats continue to face pressure from progressives over the Biden administration's staunch support for the Israeli government. Kamala Harris, she accepted Democratic nomination at the DNC. She called Donald Trump an unserious man, but the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious. Now, Trump, in the meanwhile, he hit back and said that Kamala Harris, she led US into a failing nation. She attacked Trump by calling him an unserious man. In fact, Trump, he hit back saying that Kamala Harris stands for incompetence and that she has led the USA into a failing nation.
Consider his explicit intent to set free violent extremists, the power he will have, especially after the United States Supreme Court just ruled that he would be immune from criminal prosecution. Donald Trump tried to throw away your votes. But America, we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. We are not going back to when Donald Trump tried to cut Social Security and Medicare. We are not going to let him eliminate the Department of Education that funds our public schools. America, we are not going back. Now is the time to get a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done. And let me be clear, I will always stand up for Israel to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7. What has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating. President Biden and I are working to end this war such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
Now, precautionary measures are being taken against the Mpox virus, especially in Mumbai. The BMC, it has reserved a 14-bed ward in Andheri Hospital. Mumbai's civic body has reserved a 14-bed ward in Seven Hills hospitals in Andheri's Marol area for Mpox patients as a precautionary measure. In the release, the BMC said that the screening of the passengers arriving from Africa as well as some other countries in which Mpox cases have been detected has begun at the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport, while a health information desk it has been set up there for passengers. The BMC, it said that it has carried out a joint coordination meeting with the airport health officer a day before as well.
Monkeypox is spreading far and wide across the world in many other countries. India, not so much at risk. Just a few cases reported in the country. No cases reported in Mumbai. However, the civic body in Mumbai not leaving any stone unturned in ensuring that all the precautions are taken. In fact, I am at Seven Hills Hospital, where a 14-bed facility has been arranged to treat and isolate Mpox patients. So this is the facility, as you can see, beds being arranged to treat the Mpox patients right here. So there are 14 beds that have been arranged by the BMC in the super speciality Seven Hills Hospital in Andheri East. Now let me just go across to the doctors who are in charge of this facility here. Hello sir, my first question of course is how much of a risk are we at as far as Mpox is concerned, and take us through the facility here.
Actually, in India we don't have patients, but as per literature, the monkeypox patient require isolation because it's more contagious disease and will spread very fast. So on precautionary measures, already from authorities directions, we have kept 14 isolation beds ready here.
So you want to
about the facilities in the hospital here for the Mpox patients, and of course the risk factor involved is.
Yeah, according to the BMC guidelines, we have kept ready 14 beds for the isolation if Mpox suspected patient comes in India, basically in Mumbai, as this hospital is nearby to the airport. The risk of transmission is obviously high. It is a highly contagious disease. Like COVID, how it has transmitted through the droplet infection. The same transmission is seen in monkeypox too. Other than this, there is the formation of pustules, which is the commonly found in monkeypox. So that lesion contains the fluid, and if that fluid gets contaminated with the patient's linen, clothes, or if we come in contact with that fluid, so that is the transmission factor. And other than this, if the patient is suspected, it is advisable that he should not have any kind of sexual contact, should not give the blood, or other things, like it is basically transmitted through the droplets, through the fluids, and the contact with the that lesions which is formed over there.
So transmission rate high is the information that we are getting from the doctors here, which is why they have made sure that all the precautionary steps are being undertaken. So 14-bed facility as a precautionary measure at this point at Seven Hills Hospital. Of course, the BMC is also in touch with the airport authorities. There is screening of passengers, especially from those coming from Africa, and there is a health desk also in the airport in case of any sort of emergencies. Of course, in case there is any suspect, this is the place where the patients will be brought in. So these are the doctors here at Seven Hills Hospital who just explained to us the risk factor involved. At this point, India not so much at risk. In Mumbai, no cases so far, but all the measures being taken by the civic authorities and the state government to ensure there is no widespread issue as far as Mpox cases are concerned. With video journalist Hemant, this is Radhika Ramaswamy for NDTV.
And the ISRO chief, Dr. S. Somanath, he has promised to land Indians on the moon by 2040. He was speaking to NDTV on the sidelines of the National Space Day. India is celebrating the first anniversary of Chandrayaan-3's highly successful soft landing on the moon last August as the National Space Day. NDTV's science editor Pallav Bagla, he caught up with the ISRO chairperson, Dr. S. Somanath. Listen in for more details about Chandrayaan-4 and Chandrayaan-5.
Almost a year since India landed closer to the south pole of the moon through Chandrayaan-3. Prime Minister Narendra Modi designated that as the National Space Day. I have with me Dr. S. Somanath, Chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization. Dr. Somanath, excited to be celebrating landing on Shiva Shakti point?
Definitely. It is 1 year after the historic event. 23rd of August 2023 still is such a beautiful day for us. The landing of Chandrayaan-3, the Vikram on near the southern pole of moon, and we are rekindling those enthusiasm of those days for the next generation of people.
What was your feeling on that day, that moment when the feather-like touchdown happened?
See, this was very much expected. As far as I am concerned, we were hoping that to happen. As I had told, even before the landing, I was presenting this to some of the university students that this time we are going to make it happen. So I was at ease, and I was just happy to see the joy of my teammates rejoicing that landing, and including our Honorable Prime Minister connected online to us watching us live.
Well, your name itself, Somanath, means Lord of the Moon, and the smile which we saw that day was amazing. I mean, coming soon after a failure when we tried landing. Now, going beyond, we also have a Chandrayaan-4. What is Chandrayaan-4, and when will that happen?
Chandrayaan-4 is a precursor to what we are ultimately want to do, sending human beings to moon and bring them back safely. If you are to do that, we must have ability to go to moon, but also take off from the moon like a rocket, go to the orbit of the moon, come back to Earth's orbit and return back to surface of Earth. So if this has to happen, we must do it in a scaled model level, which is nothing but Chandrayaan-4. Here, instead of human beings, we are actually sending the craft up there, collecting samples from the moon surface and bringing back, which will have a scientific purpose also. So with the available capability of launchers and available capability and a low expense mission, we can plan a Chandrayaan-4 to prove all the technology as well as the software component of that such a mission, ultimately human spaceflight mission to moon.
That is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi envisages by 2040.
2040, yes. So we have to do it in another 2 years to prove the precursor of such a capability, so that we will be preparing for a big scale for the manned mission.
And we also have in between a mission with Japan.
We are working on that. We have not yet finalized it. That's something called the Mpox mission. We call it Chandrayaan-5, maybe the next of the Chandrayaan, where we want to send a rover of big size, that is at least 10 times bigger than the one which we sent on Chandrayaan. Pragyan. And that rover has to go there and land in the very closer to the South Pole, much closer than the earlier one, looking for the traces of water, life, etc.
So, with Chandrayaan-4, are we again going to target nearer to Shiva Shakti point? Because that now seems like the hallmark for India and the Indian, in a way, an Indian territory on the moon.
Yeah, that area is really good. One, because we found many new features, and it is something that we can work on for 14 days light available. It has more scientific observation reasons for going there. So it looks like the next mission also we should do it there. Going to equator is much more easier. This is not that easy, so it also is more challenging, but it is more potential of scientific exploration lies there. So that's why it is interesting.
So that was Dr. S. Somnath, Chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization, speaking about a revisit to the moon and India going back to the area of Shiva Shakti point nearer the south pole of the moon. That is the area which is exciting not just India but the world. India created history with Chandrayaan-1 and also with Chandrayaan-3. And the National Space Day is to celebrate that big achievement. With camera person Azam Siddiqui in New Delhi, Pallav Bagla for NDTV.
Well, fascinating conversation there with Dr. S. Somanathan with Pallav Bagla. That's all the time we have for you. Keep watching NDTV.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi posted on his social media saying that he has reached Kiev earlier this morning. The Indian community accorded a very warm welcome to him.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
This week on India Ascends.
Prime Minister Modi in Ukraine. Is New Delhi now a key voice in global conflicts? DNC nominates Kamala Harris to take on Donald Trump. Can the selected candidate woo the fence-sitters? And India's new data protection norms, will they help keep pace with the AI transition?
All this and more only on India Ascends with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides. resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate, let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty.
A very good afternoon. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Divya Vaza. We have a whole lot lined up for you, including Prime Minister Modi's visit to Ukraine. He has met with the Indian diaspora. He was greeted with namastes at the airport itself. He will be meeting with Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine. To remember, Prime Minister Modi is the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Ukraine. We'll get you all the details. But first, let's get you the headlines. So, Prime Minister Modi is in Kiev. He arrived in Kiev earlier this morning along with Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar as well as the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. The Prime Minister is meeting with the President of Ukraine, and that is expected. He was greeted with namastes as he arrived in Ukraine, and it is the UN chief who's hoping that this visit of Prime Minister Modi will contribute to ending the war. It's also Poland's Prime Minister. Do remember he was in Poland earlier, and there is Prime Minister of Poland saying that India could play an essential and constructive role in resolving the Ukraine-Russia war. And women wrestler will be testifying against Brij Bhushan. This is, do remember, Manish Phogat had alleged that security was withdrawn just ahead of that key hearing which is underway. And it is the court that will resume its hearing just after breaking for lunch. Now, this is after the court has come down heavily. The Delhi police reinstates the wrestlers' security, saying that there was a lapse only because the security was then transferred to the police of Haryana, where the wrestlers belong from. And crimes against women continue. There are 4 incidents of crime against women being reported in a matter of just 24 hours. A minor girl was raped and murdered by her own uncle in Kolkata. The uncle has now confessed. In Pune, a school van driver has been booked under POXO for obscenity for sending inappropriate messages to a minor schoolgirl. While in Assam, a minor allegedly has been gang raped. Locals have threatened a protest. This is also a situation that has occurred in Delhi, where a minor was raped and the house of the accused has now been set ablaze. He has been arrested. And 14 people have died and 17 others have been injured in a bus tragedy that's taken place in Nepal. 40 Indians on board that bus that plunged into a river in Nepal. The bus was on its way from Kathmandu to Pokhara. Kamala Harris accepts the Democratic nomination at the DNC. She calls Donald Trump an unserious man, but the consequences of putting him back in the White House is extremely serious, is what she said. But it's Donald Trump who's hitting back at her, saying that it is Kamala Harris who has led the United States into a failing nation. She also remembered her mother, Shyamala Gopalan, saying that she was tough and courageous, and she always told her to take action against injustice. Well, let's just get you out to our focus, and that's the crimes against women that continues in the country. In Assam, 3 men allegedly raped a 14-year-old girl. The girl was left on the road in a semi-conscious state. This happened on Thursday evening. The girl was rescued by the police after receiving a tip-off from a passerby. She lost her consciousness right after she was rescued. She is now said to be recovering in a hospital. According to sources, the incident took place when the minor was returning home from her tuition in the evening. She was lying on the road without any clothes for around an hour before she was rescued, and the students' union called for a band there. So markets and shops have been closed, so have educational institutions. They remain closed in a mark of protest.
What we have picked up from police sources is that the victim has started to recover. She is stable. Although last night she was unconscious and therefore rushed to the hospital. Medical aid has been provided. Now the police is awaiting medical reports to ascertain whether it is a case of a rape or not. The allegations are that this girl, who is a student of class 10, 14-year-old, was returning home from her tuition classes alone on her bicycle when this incident took place in Dhing, which is part of Nagaon district in Assam. Now we did play out those sound bites of those two youths who first saw her lying on the roadside and semi-conscious with her cycle besides her, and they went and recovered her. When they asked her, she could barely speak, but she did tell that 3 people were there who had allegedly raped her, and then they informed the police. The police recovered her, brought her to the hospital. There was a huge there's a lot of sentiments now there. There are a lot of protests started even from last night itself, and today there is a local area band there in Dhing. All the market and shops are closed. The All Assam Students Union has given the call for band, and all the other civil society groups are supporting this. In fact, people have come out, locals have come out asking justice for this victim, and also asking that the police should act fast. The culprits who are absconding are to be nabbed quickly. That's the demand they have placed to the police. We have spoken to the senior police officials of the district. They are saying that there are 3 suspects whom they are looking for, and they are hopeful that they will be able to nab these suspects very soon. But the girl at this moment is recovering under medical treatment. She has gone back her consciousness, which is a good sign, and therefore her statement would be recorded by police when she is in a position to give her statement. But this incident really comes in the wake of the countrywide protest across the country against the brutal rape and murder of the female junior doctor in Kolkata. And now in Assam, this brutal incident has taken place where this girl has been allegedly raped by 3 suspects who now the police says are absconding, but they are trying to nab them.
Right, thank you, Ratati, for getting us those very shocking details of that case that's come to light in Assam. And switching tracks, also another tragic incident that is being reported yet again from Maharashtra. Now, after Badlapur, a case has now surfaced in Kolhapur. The body of a 10-year-old girl was found in a sugarcane field in Kolhapur district of Maharashtra. The girl left her house after she had a fight with her uncle over the excessive use of her mobile phone. The girl's uncle has been arrested for the alleged rape and murder of his niece when she did not return home. It was the parents who launched a frantic search only to find her 800 meters away from her house in a field. This was the body that has now been sent for a post-mortem. Well, it is the uncle who has confessed to the crime of sexually assaulting her and then finally strangulating her. And another tragic incident of a school van driver who has been accused of sending inappropriate messages to a student. The situation escalated when the student reported the continuous harassment, and an FIR has now been registered under the POCSO Act against the driver. Now, the accused has been thrashed, as you can see of the visuals that are coming to your screen now, of that school van driver who was thrashed by MNS workers before he was handed over to the police. And a fourth such incident that is coming to light and is being reported in the national capital in a matter of just 24 hours. This is a 22-year-old man who has now been arrested by the Delhi police for kidnapping and raping a 4-year-old girl in the national capital. Angered by that incident, local residents gathered outside the house of the accused and set his house on fire to express their outrage. The accused allegedly lured the young girl using a chocolate or a toffee, some sort of sweet, kidnapped her at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon in broad daylight. Now, a POXO case has been registered. The accused has been apprehended.
देखिए, ये जो घटना है ये 2 दिन पहले की है, जब शाहबाद डेरी इलाके में जो 4 साल की बच्ची है उसको एक शख्स ने टॉफ़ी दिलाने के बहाने किडनैप कर लिया था और दोपहर में करीब 3 बजे किडनैप किया। उसके बाद उसको अपने साथ में अपने घर ले गया और 3 घंटे तक वहाँ रखा। उसके बाद बच्ची को छोड़ा। घर वालों का एलिगेशन ये है कि बच्ची के साथ जो है सेक्सुअली असॉल्ट उसको किया गया। बच्ची को पुलिस ने बच्ची को अस्पताल में भर्ती कराया, जहाँ पर उसकी मेडिकल जांच हुई, जिससे प्रूव हुआ कि बच्ची को सेक्सुअली असॉल्ट किया गया है। इसके बाद पुलिस ने पॉक्सो के तहत केस दर्ज करके इस मामले में जांच शुरू की। लेकिन चूँकि जो विक्टिम है और जो एक्यूज़ड है वो अलग अलग कम्युनिटी से आते हैं, इसी चक्के चलते जो इलाके में नाराज़ लोग थे उन्होंने बीती रात जो आरोपी का घर है वो जला दिया, उसको आग के हवाले कर दिया। जो आरोपी है उसका फ़िलहाल जो पुलिस है वो कोर्ट में बयान दर्ज करा रही है और इस मामले में आगे की जांच कर रही है। लेकिन इस घटना को लेकर लोगों में काफ़ी गुस्सा है। जी।
And Prime Minister Modi is in Ukraine. He arrived this morning and he's expected to share perspectives on peaceful resolution of the ongoing conflict when he meets President Zelenskyy, and that's expected. Do remember, it's a very short visit by the Prime Minister of India. He's only there for about 7 hours. He got there early this morning, but he took 10 hours to get there from Poland on a train. The Prime Minister of Poland, before he left, said that this is a very essential and constructive role that India could perhaps be playing in resolving the Russian-Ukraine war. The Prime Minister's visit to Kiev comes just 6 weeks after his high-profile visit to Moscow, which triggered criticism from the United States and some of its Western allies. This is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Ukraine. India has so far maintained a neutral stance in the Russia-Ukraine war, calling for dialogue and diplomacy to resolve the conflict. The Prime Minister, while referring to Ukraine's conflict, said that as a friend and a partner, India hopes for an early return of peace and stability in the region. And let's just get you the very latest. This is in regard to the rape and murder case of the trainee doctor in the RG Kar hospital. This is the accused has now been sent to 14 days judicial custody. Sanjay Roy has been sent to judicial custody for 14 days. Do remember that there has only been one person who's been arrested in the case so far, while the parents of the victim have claimed that it seems to be that more people are involved in the crime. So the only accused so far, Sanjay Roy, who has been arrested. Do remember he was arrested because of that Bluetooth speaker and due to the footage of seeing him outside the room, that seminar hall where the girl, the lady doctor, the 31-year-old trainee doctor who had gone to take rest after a 36-hour shift. She was in that seminar hall taking a break when she was raped and murdered by the accused. The accused, who is now, this is breaking news coming in, that the accused, Sanjay Roy, has now been sent to 14 days judicial custody. Do remember that a polygraph test was conducted because he wasn't cooperating in the interrogation. It is a CBI that took charge from the Kolkata police, with many questions had been raised by the Supreme Court in regard to the handling of the case, in regard to how it is that the college did not come forward to register the case with the police, how there were lapses in the case, there were delays as far as the post-mortem is concerned, of the handing over of the body to the parents, the delay as far as the FIR is concerned. And now we have Mukesh joining us to get us more on this. Mukesh, take us through the details of finally this man has now been sent to 14 days judicial custody.
देखिए, जो आरोपी संजय राय है उसको कुछ देर पहले सीबीआई ने कोर्ट में पेश किया था और कोर्ट ने उसको 14 दिन के लिए जुडिशियल कस्टडी में भेज दिया है। दरअसल कोई भी अक्यूज किसी केस में होता है तो उसकी जो अधिकतम पुलिस रिमांड होती है वो 14 दिन की है। उसको जो कोलकाता पुलिस है उसने 10 अगस्त को अरेस्ट किया था और उसकी 14 दिन की जो पुलिस रिमांड है वो खत्म हो गई है। तो इसीलिए सीबीआई उसकी और ज्यादा रिमांड नहीं ले सकती है, इसीलिए उसको कोर्ट ने 14 दिन की जुडिशियल कस्टडी में भेज दिया है। अब सीबीआई बहुत जल्दी ही उसका पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट करवाएगी और पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट करवाने के लिए उसको जेल से लेकर आएगी और फिर उसका पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट होगा। तो बड़ा डेवलपमेंट ये है कि जो आरोपी संजय राय है उसको 14 दिन के लिए जुडिशियल कस्टडी में भेज दिया गया है।
मुकेश, जो डिटेल्स आ रहे हैं दैट संजय रॉय हैड स्टॉक्ड द विक्टिम अ डे बिफोर द क्राइम वाज कमिटेड।
देखिए, कोलकाता पुलिस के हवाले से जानकारी आ रही है कि जो आरोपी संजय रॉय है वो मृतक लड़की को स्टॉक कर रहा था और एक दिन पहले भी उसने उसका पीछा किया था। ये जानकारियां कोलकाता पुलिस के हवाले से आ रही हैं। हमने जो संजय राय है उसके घर वालों से भी बात की और उसके पड़ोसी जो हैं उनसे बात की। जो उसके नेबर्स हैं उनका भी ये कहना है कि संजय राय महिलाओं के प्रति गंदी नजर रखता था और जब वो घर की तरफ आता था और अगर कोई महिला उसको देखती थी तो वो दरवाजे बंद कर लेती थी। उसकी इमेज अपने इलाके में बहुत खराब थी और इसीलिए उसके जो पड़ोसी हैं वो उससे बात नहीं करते थे। घर में उसकी माँ से हमारी मुलाकात हुई। माँ का ये कहना है कि उसका बेटा निर्दोष है। वहीं जो उसकी बहन मिली, बहन का कहना ये है कि अगर संजय ने गलत किया है तो उसको कड़ी सजा मिले। वहीं जो संजय की पत्नी की माँ है यानी कि संजय की सास है, उनका कहना यह है कि संजय उनकी बेटी को शराब पी के उसके साथ में मारपीट करता था। तो लगातार संजय के बारे में जानकारी ये मिल रही कि वो काफी वायलेंट टाइप का पर्सन था, हिंसक था और अपनी पत्नी के साथ में मारपीट करता था, इसके साथ में महिलाओं के प्रति बुरी नजर रखता था।
Also from sources what we're hearing is that he is being described as a pervert and he was seen in that CCTV footage of the Kejriwal hospital that he entered that seminar hall at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Do remember that she had gone to the hall at about 1 o'clock and at about 2:30 she did speak with a co-worker and after that she apparently went back to sleep and at 4 o'clock in the morning is when Sanjay Roy entered that seminar hall where the trainee doctor had gone to take rest after a 36-hour shift. So now breaking news coming in of the custody that has judicial custody that has now been granted to Sanjay Roy in this particular case. So he will be in judicial custody for the next 14 days. Mukesh, was a polygraph test conducted on him this morning? Mukesh joining us on the phone line to get us more on this. Mukesh, he was arrested on the CCTV footage and a Bluetooth headset that was found at the scene of the crime. But a polygraph test was meant to be conducted this morning. Was that conducted on Sanjay Roy? And on the basis of that is why he has now been sent to that extended 14-day judicial custody. From what we are hearing from our sources is that he displayed no sort of nervousness during interrogation or no sort of remorse. The man basically narrated the entire episode, giving every minute detail without any sort of hiccups and appeared to have had no remorse is what is being told by an officer in charge of the questioning of the man. Do remember the CBI has taken charge from the Kolkata police after many lapses that have been highlighted, especially by the Supreme Court as well, that happened yesterday. So the CBI in its interrogation has been also questioning the former principal of the Kejriwal hospital, but this is the prime accused, the only accused in the case. Do remember that it is the mother-in-law of the accused. Sanjay Roy has also claimed that it seems to be a job which included more people, that he wasn't capable of this crime on his own. It is the parents of the trainee doctor who has been raped and has been killed in this incident. They've also claimed that there seem to be more people. They've also given names of some interns and doctors at the hospital that they suspect could be involved in this crime. Sanjay Roy, who has now been sent to 14 days judicial custody. Mukesh, take us through the details. There was a polygraph test which was scheduled for this morning, which was initially delayed to this morning. Has that been conducted on the accused?
देखिए, जो संजय राय है उसको फिलहाल 14 डेज की जो जुडिशियल कस्टडी है उसमें भेज दिया गया है और सीबीआई जब उसका पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट करवाएगी तो उसको दोबारा से जेल से लेकर आएगी, उसका पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट होगा। इसके साथ में जो संदीप घोष है, जो कि आरजीकर मेडिकल कॉलेज का पूर्व प्रिंसिपल है, उसका जो पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट होना है वो आज शुरू हो सकता है, क्योंकि उसके लिए कोर्ट से परमिशन हो गई है। इसके अलावा 4 डॉक्टर जो हैं, जिन्होंने जब ये घटना हुई थी 8 और 9 अगस्त की रात में, तो मृतक लड़की के साथ में रात में 12 बजे खाना खाया था, और उन डॉक्टरों से भी जो सीबीआई है उनका भी पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट करवाएगी, क्योंकि सीबीआई को ऐसा लगता है कि संदीप घोष और जो 4 डॉक्टर हैं ये कुछ जानकारियां छिपा रहे हैं। इसीलिए इनका लाई डिटेक्टर टेस्ट यानी पॉलीग्राफ टेस्ट होगा, जिससे ये मालूम चल पाएगा कि ये सही बोल रहे हैं या जो है झूठ बोल रहे हैं। सीबीआई इस मामले में अब तक की जांच में ये बात सामने आई है।
राइट मुकेश, हम आपके पास वापस आएंगे टू गेट मोर डिटेल्स ऑफ दिस केस इन विच द सीसीटीवी कैमरा हैज शोन दैट ही वाज ग्लेयरिंग एट दैट ट्रेनी डॉक्टर. We will keep following the story. Let's just cut across to the Prime Minister there, paying a floral tribute to the Gandhi statue in Kiev. The Prime Minister is in Ukraine there. He was welcomed by the Indian diaspora as he landed in Ukraine this morning. And now visuals on your screen coming to you from Ukraine of the Prime Minister there paying a floral tribute to the Gandhi statue in Kiev in Ukraine. Do remember, this is the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Ukraine. He will be meeting with President Zelenskyy, and that is expected. Do remember, it's a very, very short visit. He got there early this morning. He's only there for another couple of hours. It's supposed to be a 7 to 8-hour visit by the Prime Minister before he heads back. Do remember that the Prime Minister was in Poland, and it is the Prime Minister of Poland who went on to say that India could be playing a very crucial role here, a very constructive role and an essential role perhaps to bring about peace in the region. And do remember that it was Prime Minister Modi who went on to say that as a friend and as a partner, he hopes to bring about stability and peace in the region. It is also the UN chief who has gone on to talk about maybe India could perhaps play a potential role in bringing an end to the war. So this is a visit that is very, very crucial, and it does come just 6 weeks after the Prime Minister visited Russia, a visit that was severely criticized by the US and some of its Western allies. And here it is the Prime Minister who will be meeting with Zelenskyy. Of course, the Prime Minister there has spoken about peace and stability in the region, gone on to talk about diplomacy and dialogue, and that is the way forward, saying that this is not an era for war. It is the Polish Prime Minister, Mr. Tusk, who has gone on to say this is quite a historic visit when it comes to the Prime Minister of India, that could perhaps play a very constructive and essential role when it comes to bringing an end to the war conflict between the two nations. So the Prime Minister there in Kiev, after completing his 2-day visit in Poland, he is paying a floral tribute to the statue of Mahatma Gandhi in Kiev. This is the first Prime Minister of India to visit Ukraine. Do remember, it's a very, very crucial visit. This comes just 6 weeks after the Prime Minister was in Russia, a visit that was criticized by the Western allies and the United States. So today, as he did arrive early this morning in the war-hit area of Ukraine, he's expected to share the perspective as far as peaceful resolution is concerned of the ongoing conflict when he meets with President Zelenskyy, and that is expected very, very soon. It is a very essential and constructive role that India perhaps could be playing when it comes to the conflict between the two nations, Russia and Ukraine, is how the Prime Minister of Poland, Mr. Tusk, has described this visit of Prime Minister Modi. Prime Minister Modi's visit to Kiev comes nearly just weeks after he was in Moscow. This is the first visit, like we mentioned, of an Indian Prime Minister. He has so far maintained a very neutral stance when it comes to the war situation, calling for dialogue and diplomacy to resolve the conflict. The Prime Minister, while referring to the Ukraine conflict, said that as a friend and as a partner, India hopes for an early return of peace and stability in the region. So it is the Prime Minister power pack visit. He has pledged to campaign for peace. He is in Ukraine, and the Prime Minister has spoken about it's a time to come together. Do remember, the Prime Minister had gone on to say that India thinks of everyone. India wants everyone's benefit, that India has now wanted close ties with other nations, and that India is a country that is there for every nation. So it is Prime Minister Modi's message. And just before he left for Poland, before he reached Ukraine, he spoke about how India is a friend and a partner and is hoping to return peace and stability to that region. So, of course, Prime Minister Modi there on that very crucial visit. This is after he was in Poland, a visit that came about after 45 years of an Indian Prime Minister visiting Poland after 1979. So, thereafter meeting with the Indian diaspora there, he has been greeted by the Indian diaspora there. He was met with the namastes at the airport itself. He will be meeting with President Zelenskyy, a very crucial meeting coming about, knowing that the relationship that India has with Russia and with Mr. Putin, a visit that was just weeks ago. We have my colleague Vishal joining us. Vishal, take us to the agenda. We know it's a very short visit. We are expecting the visit of only about 7 hours. He got there early this morning at about close to 11 o'clock. It's 2:30 in the afternoon right now. Take us through that meeting that's been lined up with President Zelenskyy.
So there are two levels of talk that are scheduled to happen. First would be a one-on-one meeting with Zelenskyy, and another one would be delegation level talks, which will probably have the the Foreign Minister Jai Shankar, who is accompanying PM Narendra Modi, and also there is a National Security Advisor Ajit Doval with him. So all these big wigs of Indian politics, they will meet Zelenskyy for a delegation level talk. There's not much that has been revealed as per the agenda is concerned. It's quite obvious since the situation is quite tense there, and it's a security protocol not to reveal these things in advance. So it remains to be seen what kind of discussions would be there, but reports and experts have been saying that the discussions would be revolving around the war, and there could be efforts, to reach some kind of negotiations between both the warring parties, promoted by India, so that could, present some kind of solution to the whole situation, which has killed thousands so far. Mind you, it has been going on, this conflict has been going on for more than 2 years now, 26 months to be precise, and each month thousands are being killed on each side. Just last month, actually earlier this month, Ukraine was able to, invade Russia in some way, and that was the first instance ever since World War II when any country was able to invade Russia in some sort of way. So it has been all has been happening in the last few weeks, and just then PM Modi has decided to visit Ukraine. Last month he was in Russia for a short visit. He had met Vladimir Putin there. Now within the span of just a month, he has met, he's scheduled to meet Zelenskyy. So
Zelenskyy, like you said,
Vishal. Also, what kind of impact it will have. Yeah.
Right, and it's also the UN Secretary General who's gone on to say that he's hoping this visit of the Prime Minister could perhaps, contribute to the ending that war in Ukraine. Thank you so much, Vishal, for joining us with those details. And with that, we're slipping into a very short break. Back with a whole lot more on the other side. Do stay with us.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
This week on India Ascends.
Prime Minister Modi in Ukraine. Is New Delhi now a key voice in global conflicts? DNC nominates Kamala Harris to take on Donald Trump. Can the selected candidate woo the fence-sitters? And India's new data protection norms, will they help keep pace with the AI transition?
All this and more only on India Ascends with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient.
Welcome back. Let's get you the very latest. And this is Prime Minister Modi today, who arrived in war-hit Ukraine and is expected to share perspectives on peaceful resolution of the ongoing conflict when he meets with President Zelenskyy, and that's going to be taking place later today. Poland Prime Minister Mr. Tusk has said that India could play an essential and constructive role in resolving the Russia-Ukraine war. The Prime Minister's visit to Kiev comes nearly 6 weeks after his high-profile trip to Moscow, which triggered criticism from the United States and some of its Western allies as well. This is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Ukraine. India has so far maintained a neutral stance in the Russia-Ukraine war, calling for dialogue and diplomacy to resolve the conflict. The Prime Minister, while referring to Ukraine's conflict, said that as a friend and a partner, India hopes for an early return of peace and stability in the region. And in other news, it's Kamala Harris who accepted her presidential nomination at the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. She directly addressed Israel's war in Gaza in her acceptance speech, pledging that she will continue to support Israel and advocate for the well-being of Palestinians as Democrats continue to face pressure from progressives as far as Biden's administration's strong support for the Israeli government is concerned. Kamala Harris accepting that nomination at DNC, she calls Donald Trump an unserious man, with the consequence of putting him back in the White House as an extremely serious issue. Now, Trump also has hit back and said that Kamala Harris led the US into a failing nation. Well, it is Kamala Harris who also went ahead and remembered her mother, Shamla Gopalan, who is no more, calling her a tough and courageous woman. She did attack Trump, calling him that unserious man, but it was Trump who hit back, saying that it is Kamala Harris who stands for incompetence and that she has led the United States into a failing nation. While it was the third day of the Democratic National Convention on Wednesday that kicked off with the first of its kind Vedic prayer, where the priests sought blessings for a united country. Even if we have differences when it comes to the nation, we have to be united, and it should move us towards justice for all. That is what was said by Indian American priest Rakesh Bhatt as he formally started the proceedings of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. While the convention roll call votes that could be staid and cheesy, but Democrats turned theirs into the ultimate dance party. This was DJ Cassidy, who stood on stage spinning a special song for each state and territory, awarding their delegates to Vice President Kamala Harris at that Democratic National Convention. What America got was a mashup of an elite karaoke night. Democrats were determined to put the party in political party, and the part of their broader effort was to project joy and positivity as far as positive energy is concerned, even as the issue of dire warnings about the need to beat Republican nominee Donald Trump is concerned. And Defense Minister Rajnath Singh is set to visit the United States till the 26th of August. This comes as several high-end defense deals between India and the United States are in the final stages of conclusion. The visit comes as several high-end defense deals are lined up, as also friction over issues like Prime Minister's visit to Russia and the Pannu episode. In addition, a key concern for the Defense Ministry at the moment is the delay in deliveries from General Electric of the F-404 engines for the indigenous light combat aircrafts. And women of Indian origin from London, Cambridge Oxford, especially the doctors, scientists, engineers, as well as businesswomen, reached the British Parliament to protest against the alleged delay in the justice for the 31-year-old junior doctor who was raped and murdered in Kolkata. Solutions for sustainable safety were discussed even as women, men, young people poured their anger and frustration over repeated assaults against women. An Israeli airstrike in the Lebanese coastal city of Sidon killed the brother of a high-ranking official with the Palestinian faction of Fatah's military wing. And let's just cut across to Prime Minister Modi, who is in Ukraine. The Prime Minister there, who reached Ukraine early this morning at around close to 11 o'clock this morning. He took a train from Poland to Ukraine, which took him about 10 hours to reach the capital of Ukraine, Kiev. He is now going to be there. Visuals on your screen, live visuals of Prime Minister Modi meeting with President Zelenskyy in Kiev. Do remember that Prime Minister Modi is the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Ukraine, and all hopes are pinned on Prime Minister Modi for playing a peacemaker when it comes to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. That is what the UN chief is hoping. That is what the Polish Prime Minister has also gone on to say after that visit, a two-day visit of the Prime Minister in Poland. It was the Polish Prime Minister who went on to say that it is this visit of the Prime Minister that is essential and could play a constructive role as far as bringing about peace in the region is concerned. Do remember, Prime Minister Modi had gone on to say that as a friend and as a partner, he is hoping to bring about peace and stability that should return to the region. We have my colleague Vishal joining us. Vishal, finally that meeting that's come about between the two leaders. We have visuals on our screen of Prime Minister Modi meeting with President Zelenskyy there in Ukraine, the first Prime Minister from India to make a visit to Ukraine.
That is correct. Ever since 1991, which is when Ukraine gained independence from Russia, this is the first instance of an Indian PM visiting the region, and this comes in the backdrop of a big war which has been going on for about 26 months now. It's been more than 2 years, and thousands have been killed in the war on both sides. Each month on the border of Russia and Ukraine, thousands of troops on both the sides are dying. So it remains to be seen what kind of effect this visit of PM Modi in Ukraine will have on that war. But experts and reports are suggesting that the topic could be raised among one of the agendas could be this topic of Russia-Ukraine war. Countries all over the world have been trying to lay out some kind of plan so that this war could be stopped. There's plan from China, there's plan from other countries. They have been giving suggestions as to how to stop this war, but they have not been able to do so. But what kind of impact will this visit have on the war? That remains to be seen. They have not really, the Ministry of External Affairs has not really revealed what kind of agenda is there because of security reasons. That's obvious. But as I mentioned earlier, there have been reports that have been suggesting that, since last month, PM Modi visited Russia and met Vladimir Putin, and this month only he has gone there to meet Zelenskyy, and now finally the big meeting has happened. So it could be India's, India's trying to send a message that it could play a role in this big conflict. It's trying to send a message of peace, and Prime Minister Modi has been repeating in the last 2 years, and whenever he's met Vladimir Putin and otherwise as well, that this is not an era for war. He has repeated that, reiterated that many times. So what kind of statement comes, that will be known in the next few hours probably. This is a one-on-one meeting that's going on right now. Next will be the delegation level talks, which will probably have the Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar and the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. So these are some of the bigwigs of the Indian politics that have also traveled with PM Modi to Ukraine. So the big topic of discussion will most likely be,
Right. So, of course, first we did see visuals of Prime Minister Modi there arriving at the railway station. Do remember he took a train, which was a journey that was, 10 hours long before he got to Ukraine this morning. He is expected, it is a very short visit. His visit in Ukraine is going to be shorter than the journey it took him to get to Ukraine from Poland. And from there, of course, he paid a floral tribute to Mahatma Gandhi. And now visuals on your screen of Prime Minister Modi and President Zelenskyy there there, there in the memory of the children. So there we have the two leaders there honoring the children there. This is in honor as far as the memory of the children who've lost their lives in that conflict that has been, dragging on for over 2 years, 26 months in all, from February of 2022. That conflict that started in Ukraine by Russia. And of course, this is a very significant visit of the Prime Minister. Do remember the Prime Minister said that India is there for everyone and thinks of everyone's benefit. Speaking of Ukraine as a friend and as a partner, hoping for peace and stability to return to the region. So visuals on your screen of the two leaders there honoring the memory of the children in Kiev. Vishal, of course, visuals on our screen of the two leaders there getting together, and what we can expect is also an official photo op that is expected at the palace.
That is correct. That is customary. Whenever the big leaders meet, Zelenskyy invites them to his palace and they have a photo op. That's one of the small issues here, but the bigger picture of the whole visit will be the Russia-Ukraine war. That has not been revealed in the agenda. That's not official, as Ministry of External Affairs has not really commented on what kind of topics would be raised during the meeting. But one can assume, and many experts have been saying that since PM Modi visited Russia last month and this month itself he has gone to Ukraine, it's a message that India is trying to spread, that India could play a role in the big conflict that has killed thousands in the last 2.5 years on both the sides. Russian soldiers have been dying in the thousands. They have incurred heavy losses in the last few months, especially that Ukraine's incursion in the last few weeks, that has also resulted in a boost of morale for Ukrainian troops, and that has been dampening of spirit for the Russian troops. So it has been a flip-flop on both the sides, resulting in deaths of thousands, and largely the conflict remains a drone warfare as we speak. There are few ground troops that have been combating with each other. It's mostly a drone warfare now, as in both the countries have been using suicide drones to exert damage on each other. What kind of impact this visit will have on these strategies of the war, that remains to be seen, but it is obviously a messaging from India that it can play a role on the big stage as far as bringing peace is concerned.
Right, of course, that very big role that India could play, calling this visit historic, that's how the Polish Prime Minister has described it. The UN chief there also, hoping that this visit of the Prime Minister could help contribute in bringing an end to the war as far as Ukraine and Russia is concerned. So from here, as we can see, that the two leaders are at that, they are in fact paying their tribute. This is the Ukraine National Museum where the two leaders are at the moment. Live visuals on your screen of President Zelenskyy and Prime Minister Modi at that National Museum in Ukraine to honor the memory of the children whose lives were lost due to the Russian invasion. From here, what we can expect is that the two leaders will then be going to the palace where a high-level delegation meeting will be held and bilateral talks of cooperation are also expected. This is a visit in order to strengthen the ties when it comes to India and Ukraine. So we have Vishal with us. Vishal, take us through the significance and what kind of a message does this really put out to Mr. Putin, who is a very good friend of Mr. Modi and of India?
So to give proper context of that, when Prime Minister Modi visited Russia last month, it was condemned by a lot of countries. There were comments from US, there were comments from other countries as well, especially from Zelenskyy himself, who had said that the Prime Minister hugging Vladimir Putin does not send across a proper message to the world. But what kind of reaction does Putin have on this? That also remains to be seen. He will definitely give out a statement, since as we have been reporting that Prime Minister Modi visited Russia just last month. He was there on a big visit, and this time just within a space of a month he has gone to Ukraine. So very few leaders in the last 2.5 years, ever since the war erupted, have gone to visit Ukraine, and Prime Minister Modi is widely regarded on the big stage. He is one of the top leaders in the world, and the fact that he has chosen to visit Ukraine during the time of the war is a big statement. And what kind of effect it will have on the war, that is the biggest question. And the agenda has not been revealed as we have been reporting, but as soon as the the agenda is revealed and what kind of discussions have gone on in the meeting when the Prime Minister is accompanied with S. Jaishankar and Ajit Doval, and when they meet with Zelenskyy, what kind of discussions are there, that all will be answered in a few hours from now.
Right, of course, all eyes on that very crucial meeting, whether it comes to the West, whether it is the UN chief also who's gone on to say that this could really contribute, in ending that war there. Of course, also the Polish Prime Minister there talking about that historic visit, and this could really make a difference when it comes to the conflict situation between Russia and Ukraine, given the fact that India has a very good relationship with Russia. And just 6 weeks after that visit of the Prime Minister in Moscow, now the Prime Minister is in Kiev, and as you can see visuals on your screen of the two leaders there meeting, Zelenskyy and Modi there hugging it out, and of course now also paying a tribute to the children who lost their lives in that conflict of that invasion that was started by Russia in February of 2022. So a very crucial visit, which is only going to last a few hours before the Prime Minister heads back. But when we talk about his visit to Poland, of course he went on to say that it gave an opportunity in order to deepen cooperation with a valued friend. So he is calling the relationship between India and Poland a very of a lot of value, and of course also calling Ukraine a friend and a partner, saying that he is hopeful that peace and stability will be returning to the region. So Vishal, when we talk about the kind of messaging that's being put out, whether before departing for Poland, that's the kind of message that the Prime Minister of the country put out, that he was hoping for peace and stability to return to Ukraine. Before leaving from Poland, the Prime Minister spoke of the the kind of role that India could be playing, which could be very constructive. And then we have the UN chief also reacting to this visit. All hopes are so far hopes have been in fact been pinned on this crucial visit when it comes to Prime Minister Modi and meeting with Zelenskyy, who has now now sharing a good relationship and deepening the ties as far as the relationship between India and Ukraine is concerned.
That is correct. So India maintains good relations with both the countries. That is where India could play a big role. As I mentioned earlier, plans for peace, plans for bringing peace to the region, that has been professed by many countries such as China, but that has largely been rejected because China does not really have good relations with Ukraine. But since India has good relations with both the countries, but India has yet to present a plan. But the fact that Indian Prime Minister himself has visited Ukraine during the time of war, visited Russia during the time of war, that is sending a message. That is sending a message of peace, and he has been reiterating the message that this is not an era for war. Remember when he met Vladimir Putin 2 years ago, he had personally told him that this is not an era for war. He was the first big leader to tell Putin on his face that the war should stop. But he has gone on to reiterate that several times, even before arriving in Ukraine, before when he departed from India, he said that this is not an era for war. That was his departing statement. So he has been emphasizing on the fact that the peace should be brought to the region, but whether he's actually able to achieve that remains to be seen.
Right, of course, that really remains to be seen. And when we talk about the Prime Minister there, who reached Ukraine this morning and spoke about how, he got this rousing welcome by the Indian community. He received this really warm welcome is what he has gone on to share on the social media platform X. He is also, there visiting that, as far as that, let's also get you the very latest of the visuals on your screen regarding the Prime Minister there. He is in Kiev honoring the lives that have been lost, the lives of the children lost in that conflict with Russia. The Prime Minister there now will be holding talks with President Zelenskyy. He is there right now, honoring the memory of the children at that exposition. He arrived in Kiev from Poland via the Rail Force One, a train journey that took him 10 hours to reach Ukraine, and he is expected to be there all of 7 hours. Do remember, he got there close to about 11 o'clock this morning. It's about close to 3. So another couple of hours from here, he is expected to go to the palace. Of course, before this, he did pay a tribute to Mahatma Gandhi. And from here on, talks are expected with President Zelenskyy at the palace before the Prime Minister departs. So a very crucial visit. The world is seeing very, very closely, whether it's the West, whether it is the UN chief there, talking about how India could be playing a very crucial role when it comes to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Vishal, take us through, what, is going to be on the agenda from here. Where can the two leaders be going? Are they going to be going to the palace there? Is that where the talks are going to be held?
So none of that has been revealed, but as you mentioned earlier, that there will be a photo op, and that's when the one-on-one meeting could, progress to the next stage. And there will be another meeting, which will be a delegation-level talk, which will have S. Jaishankar, Foreign Minister, and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval will also be there. That will be a combined talk, which will have the big leaders on both the sides. So that is when we will get to know, when the meeting ends, that is when we will get to know what kind of discussion has been happening, and has the Russia-Ukraine war figured in the discussion, what kind of trade relations will be established, because that is also one of the topics that is being looked at. India-Ukraine trade relations, that could also come up, and the bilateral relations will be taken to the next stage, because this is the first time in the history of both the countries' relations that an Indian PM has visited Ukraine ever since the bilateral relations were established. So all of that will be in focus, and of course, as we've been saying and reporting, that the Russia-Ukraine war could be one of the big topics. A war that has killed thousands, continues to kill hundreds each month, each day, and the war has graduated to the next level. Now it's mostly a drone warfare, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of ground troop movement around the Russia-Ukraine border region, especially in the Kursk region, where Ukraine had made an incursion, made history in the last few weeks, becoming the first country since the World War II to get into Russia with the ground troops. That was sort of a morale boosting victory for Ukraine, and sort of a spirit dampener for Russia. So all of that will probably figure in the discussion, but all of that remains to be seen when the discussion actually happens and when the press statement comes.
Right, Vishal, let's just also talk about the fact that this is not the first time that the two leaders have, going to be sharing that dialogue regarding the situation as far as Russia is concerned, because they have spoken on the phone several times since the invasion that took place in February of 2022. And it was after a conversation that took place in March that the Prime Minister went on to say that they've conveyed India's consistent support for all efforts for peace and bringing an early end to the ongoing conflict.
Yes, they've had meetings in the past. In this year itself, they have met a few times, but this is the first time they've met in Ukraine, which is Zelenskyy's region, and this is the first time that an Indian PM has gone into the region ever since the bilateral relations were established, and ever since Ukraine had gained independence from Russia. So that was 1991, and the fact that this visit comes around the time when the conflict, which has killed thousands, is going to the next level by becoming a drone warfare situation, and situation where Ukraine has sort of attacked Russia in the last few weeks. Thousands of Ukrainian troops, reports suggest that they are inside the territory, and what kind of effect that has, that remains to be seen.
Right. What really needs to be seen if Prime Minister Modi could play a role of a broker when it comes to the conflict between the two countries. Could he really push the two countries to, in fact, come on the same page in regard to holding talks regarding the conflict? So all that needs to be seen. We are waiting for the Prime Minister and the President to make some sort of an announcement, or, once they have that meeting at the palace and that photo op that's going to be taking place later. Vishal, we will keep coming back to you for more on Prime Minister Modi's visit visit in Ukraine. Now, switching tracks now, it's ISRO chief who has promised to land Indians on the moon by 2040. He has spoken to NDTV's Pallab Bagla while this was on the sidelines of the National Space Day, which is being celebrated coinciding with the first anniversary of Chandrayaan 3's highly successful soft landing, which took place last August, and therefore this has been marked as the National Space Day.
Almost a year since India landed closer to the south pole of the moon through Chandrayaan 3. Prime Minister Narendra Modi designated that as the National Space Day. I have with me Dr. S. Somnath, Chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization. Dr. Somnath, excited to be celebrating landing on Shiva Shakti point?
Definitely, it is 1 year after the historic event. 23rd of August 2023 still is such a beautiful day for us. The landing of Chandrayaan 3, the Vikram on the near the southern pole of moon, and we are rekindling those spirit, enthusiasm of those days for the next generation of people.
What was your feeling on that day, that moment when the feather-like touchdown happened?
See, this was very much expected. As far as I am concerned, we were hoping that to happen. As I had told, even before the landing, I was presenting this to some of the university students that this time we are going to make it happen. So I was at ease, and I was just happy to see the joy of my teammates rejoicing that landing, and including our Honorable Prime Minister connected online to us watching this live.
Well, your name itself, Somanath, means Lord of the Moon, and the smile which we saw that day was amazing. I mean, coming soon after a failure when we tried landing. Now, going beyond, we also have a Chandrayaan 4. What is Chandrayaan 4, and when will that happen?
Chandrayaan 4 is a precursor to what we are ultimately want to do, sending human beings to moon and bring them back safely. If you are to do that, we must have ability to go to moon, but also take off from the moon like a rocket, go to the orbit of the moon, come back to Earth's orbit and return back to surface of Earth. So if this has to happen, we must do it in a scaled model level, which is nothing but Chandrayaan 4. Here, instead of human beings, we are actually sending the craft up there, collecting samples from the moon surface and bringing back, which will have a scientific purpose also. So with the available capability of launchers and available capability and a low expense mission, we can plan a Chandrayaan 4 to prove all the technology as well as the software component of that such a mission, ultimately human spaceflight mission to moon.
That is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi envisages by 2040.
2040, yes. So we have to do it in another 2 years to prove the precursor of such a capability, so that we will be preparing for a big scale for the manned mission.
And we also have in between a mission with Japan?
We are working on that. We have not yet finalized it. That's something called the Mpox mission. We call it Chandrayaan 5, maybe the next of the Chandrayaan, where we want to send a rover of big size, that is at least 10 times bigger than the one which we sent on Chandrayaan. Pragyan. And that rover has to go there and land in the very closer to the South Pole, much closer than the earlier one, looking for the traces of water, life, etc.
So, with Chandrayaan 4, are we again going to target nearer to Shiva Shakti point? Because that now seems like the hallmark for India and the Indian, in a way, an Indian territory on the moon.
Yeah, that area is really good. One, because we found many new features, and it is something that we can work on for 14 days light available. It has more scientific observation reasons for going there. So it looks like the next mission also we should do it there. Going to equator is much more easier. This is not that easy, so it also is more challenging, but it is more potential of scientific exploration lies there. So that's why it is interesting.
So that was Dr. S. Somnath, Chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization, speaking about a revisit to the moon and India going back to the area of Shiva Shakti point nearer the south pole of the moon. That is the area which is exciting not just India but the world. India created history with Chandrayaan 1 and also with Chandrayaan 3. And the National Space Day is to celebrate that big achievement. with camera person Azam Siddiqui in New Delhi, Pallav Bagla for NDTV.
Landslide devastation in Kerala's Wayanad. Join NDTV's initiative. Donate for Kerala.
This week on India Ascends.
Prime Minister Modi in Ukraine. Is New Delhi now a key voice in global conflicts? DNC nominates Kamala Harris to take on Donald Trump. Can the selected candidate woo the fence-sitters? And India's new data protection norms, will they help keep pace with the AI transition?
All this and more only on India Ascends with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Hi, I'm Shreya Saran. Kerala's Wayanad area is hit by devastating landslides, resulting in loss of lives and livelihood. Kerala needs your help right now. Let's join NDTV initiative. Come, donate. Let's rebuild Wayanad.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Osama Shab. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he is in Ukraine. He has met the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, a key strategic meeting amid the ongoing Ukraine-Russia crisis. We'll get you all of those details. But first, let's take a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Modi meets Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in war-hit Kiev. Prime Minister Modi and Zelenskyy, they visited an exhibition to honor dead children. Prime Minister Modi was greeted with namastes as he arrived in Ukraine with S. Jaishankar and Ajit Doval. And the latest in the Kolkata rape and murder horror accused Sanjay Roy is sent to 14-day judicial custody. The crimes against women continue in the country. 4 incidents in just 24 hours. In Kolhapur, a minor girl was raped and murdered. Her uncle is the accused. In Pune, a school van driver booked under POXO for obscenity. In Assam, a minor girl was allegedly gang raped. One suspect has been arrested. While in Delhi, a minor was raped. The accused's home was set ablaze. A woman wrestler set to testify against Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh today. In the meanwhile, Vinesh Phogat, she alleged that security was withdrawn ahead of this key hearing. After the court intervened, Delhi police reinstates the wrestler's security. 14 people are feared dead, while 17 have been injured in Nepal bus accident. 40 Indians were on board this bus that plunged into the river in Nepal. The bus was en route from Pokhara to Kathmandu. Kamala Harris accepts Democratic nomination at the Democrats' National Convention. She calls Donald Trump an unserious man, but the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious, is what she said. Trump, in the meanwhile, hit back and said Harris led US into a failing nation. Kamala Harris, in the meanwhile, also remembered her mother, Shyamala Gopalan, calling her tough and courageous. Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Osama Shab. Our big story that we are tracking at this hour, the Prime Minister, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he is in Ukraine. He met the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in Kiev. In fact, Prime Minister Modi and Zelenskyy, they were also at an exhibition to honor the dead children. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he arrived in war-hit Ukraine and he is expected to share perspectives on peaceful resolution of the ongoing conflict which has been going on for the last 2 years. Now, Prime Minister Modi, he met the Ukrainian president. In fact, while the Polish Prime Minister, Donald Tusk, he had said that India could play an essential and constructive role in resolving this crisis. Now, Prime Minister Modi's visit to Kiev, it comes nearly 6 weeks after his high-profile trip to Moscow, which in fact triggered criticism from the United States and some of its Western allies. Remember, this is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Ukraine. India has so far maintained a neutral stance in the Russia-Ukraine war, calling for dialogue and diplomacy in order to resolve this particular conflict. Now, Prime Minister Modi, while referring to the Ukraine conflict, he had earlier said that as a friend and partner, India hopes for an early return of peace and stability in this region. And my colleague Vishal joins us to get us more on this. Vishal, the Prime Minister, he's there in Ukraine. He has met Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Just give us a sense of is there going to be a possible solution or even a proposal in order to try and end this ongoing conflict which has been going on for the past couple of years now?
So far there's no official word on that. The Ministry of External Affairs has not yet released a statement regarding the agenda of the meetings that is scheduled. So there are 2 levels of meetings scheduled. One would be a one-on-one meeting with Zelenskyy, who's the president of Ukraine, and the other one would be a delegation level talk which will have Prime Minister Modi himself. Other than that, there will be Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar and also National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. So all these 3 big wigs of Indian politics will meet President Zelenskyy and possibly other Ukrainian leaders, and then they will have the discussion. What happens in those discussions, that remains to be seen. There's no official word on that, but as a precursor to that meeting, Prime Minister has released a statement when he was in Poland and said that there's no, the battle itself cannot be solved, and there has to be some kind of peaceful mission, and that remains to be seen as to what kind of exactly the statement will be released. But as far as the conflict itself is concerned, thousands have been killed in the last 2.5 years. Each month, around hundreds of people are being killed. Troops on both the sides are getting slaughtered as we speak. Although the conflict has largely gone on to the stage of drone warfare, where most of the conflict remains in the drone area, and suicide drones are being used on both the sides. In the last few weeks, Ukraine has gained an incursion into Russia, has gone into the Kursk region and taken over a lot of Russian cities. Although there are small Russian cities, but nonetheless, this is the first time since the World War II that any country has been able to invade Russian soil. All of that will probably figure in the meeting, but it's not officially been revealed. But there have been statements leading up to the meeting which sort of suggest that this will be one of the big topics. And India, since the Indian Prime Minister visited Russia last month and met Vladimir Putin, and within the space of a month he's meeting Ukrainian President. So that itself sort of sends a message that India could be trying to play the role of peacemaker here. there have been several proposals as far as the Russia-Ukraine war is concerned. There is one proposal from China, but all of that has largely been rejected because China is not really in the good books of Ukraine. But when it comes to India, India has a good relation with both Ukraine and Russia, so that could also play a big role in the whole conflict. And a peaceful resolution could be achieved. A negotiation could be initiated due to Indian Prime Minister visit to both the countries. So all of that will be revealed when the meeting finally gets over and a statement is released.
All right, Vishal Vivek there, thank you very much for getting us all the latest. So the Prime Minister, he has met Vladimir Zelenskyy, and the big question is India's role in the peace process, and we'll keep a track of how things develop while the Prime Minister is there in Ukraine. And in the latest, in the Kolkata horror rape and murder case, the accused Sanjay Roy, he has been sent to 14-day judicial custody. Sanjay Roy, remember, the prime accused in the rape and murder of a doctor at the RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital. He has been sent to 14-day judicial custody. He, in fact, has a history of violence and abuse, according to his estranged family members and neighbors. In the meanwhile, Sandeep Ghosh, the ex-principal of the RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital, he's being questioned for the 8th straight day by the Central Bureau of Investigation. In fact, the CBI has submitted a status report in the Supreme Court in its probe into the rape and murder of a woman doctor at the RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital. In fact, a bench led by the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, it had on Tuesday said that the nation cannot wait for another rape case for changes to occur on the ground. And Tanushka joins us to get us more on this story. Tanushka, the latest that we understand from there is that the accused, he has been sent to 14-day judicial custody. What more can you tell us?
So, Sanjay Roy, the prime accused in the rape and murder case of the RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital, has been sent to a 14-day judicial custody. Remember, he has been under police custody all this while. He was arrested by the Kolkata police. He's the prime accused in this case. And now he has been sent to judicial custody. And this was after a hearing at the Sialda court, wherein he was represented by a state legislative lawyer who was assigned the case by the court, as no lawyer was willing to take up his case. What we also know is that Sanjay Roy has consented for the polygraph test, which means that Sanjay Roy has given his consent and permission. He's agreed to go ahead with the lie detector test. What we also know is that the CBI is interrogating Sandeep Ghosh, the former principal of the RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital, for the 8th straight day. He's being interrogated for the 8th consecutive day by the Central Bureau of the Investigation as well. And a polygraph test is also in a line for Sandeep Ghosh as well.
All right, Tanushka Datta, thank you very much for getting us all the latest in that story. From what we understand as of now and what Tanushka was telling us, the accused Sanjay Roy, he has been sent to 14-day judicial custody. In the meanwhile, the ex-principal, he has been questioned by the CBI for 8th straight day now. Moving our focus to Kolhapur now in Maharashtra. After Badlapur, now there has been an alleged rape and murder case that has been reported in Kolhapur. The body of a 10-year-old girl was found in a sugarcane field in Maharashtra's Kolhapur district. The girl, she left her house after she had a fight with her uncle over her excessive phone usage. Now, the girl's uncle had been arrested. He has been arrested for her alleged rape and murder, is what the police has said. In fact, when the girl did not return home for a long time, her parents, they launched a frantic search to find her body in a sugarcane field just 800 meters from the house. In fact, the body has been sent for post-mortem examination. She was sexually assaulted and strangulated by the uncle. And this is what the uncle confessed during this interrogation. And Radhika joins us to get us more on this. Radhika, what is the latest that you can tell us about this horrific story that is coming from Kolhapur? Because we have seen something similar happening in Badlapur now, a similar story in Kolhapur now. What more can you tell us?
Certainly a very, very disturbing incident from Kolhapur. We did see another similar incident in Badlapur, as you mentioned, where two small girls were allegedly sexually assaulted in their school by a cleaner. But Kolhapur incident far more serious, as this girl was not just sexually assaulted, but she was killed, and that too by a family member. This happened on Wednesday. She went missing, after which her parents lodged a police complaint, post which, of course, the police started hunting for her, and they saw her body in a sugarcane field which was close to her residence, after which, of course, the investigation started. The post-mortem report revealed that she was sexually assaulted and strangled to death. And later, CCTV evidence established that it was, in fact, a family member, a distant uncle, who was living with the girl and her family for the last many months, who allegedly did this crime. So very, very shocking. He has been taken into custody. He's been arrested under relevant sections of the POCSO Act, and investigations are currently underway.
All right, Radhika, stay with us, because we are shifting our focus to Pune now, where a school van driver, he has been accused of sending inappropriate messages to a student. Now, the situation escalated when the student she reported the continuous harassment. An FIR has been registered against the driver under the POCSO Act at the Deccan police station. And the accused, he has been thrashed by the MNS workers before being handed over to the police. And what you can see on your screens is that video of the van driver being thrashed by the MNS workers before he was accused, before the accused was handed over to the cops. And Radhika is still there with us. Radhika, what details can you give us about this incident? And there is also a fear that vigilante justice is coming to the forefront. People are certainly not happy with what is happening, and they're taking law into their hands. This is dangerous, precursor.
Certainly, vigilante justice is something that we're seeing now. People taking law into their hands. We saw that in Badlapur as well, where a large number of people came out on roads, protested, as a result of which there was stone pelting, and there was a lot of violence witnessed over the sexual assault of those two minor girls. Something similar happened in Pune as well, where a girl was allegedly molested by the school bus driver, school van driver. In fact, he sent her inappropriate messages and spoke to her inappropriately, is the complaint she gave to the police. However, what happened post that is, of course, this man was arrested, but MNS workers in Pune started beating up this man and also started vandalizing the property as well, the vehicle as well, for allegedly misbehaving with this girl. So, of course, police has launched an investigation into this, and this man has been arrested. But what is unfortunate is the incident itself, and also the fact that people have started taking law into their own hands, as they do not trust the police anymore, which is what we saw in Badlapur, where there were a lot of lapses as far as police investigations are concerned. Something similar being witnessed in Pune as well.
All right, Radhika Ramaswamy, thank you very much for getting us all the latest in those stories of horrific information coming from Pune as well as Kolhapur there. In fact, the crimes against women, they keep continuing in the country. In Assam, 3 men, they allegedly raped a 14-year-old girl. The girl was left on the road in a semi-conscious state in Nagaon district on Thursday evening. The girl was rescued by police in the Dhing area after receiving a tip-off from a passerby. In fact, the girl, she lost consciousness after being rescued, and now the girl is recovering in hospital, is what the police are saying. Now, student unions, they have called for a bandh. The minor, like I mentioned, was found in a semi-conscious state lying near a pond with her cycle beside her. And Ratnadeep joins us to get us more on this story. Ratnadeep, break it down for us. What exactly happened, and what is the police telling us right now, and what is the course of action that the police is going to take from now?
Well, what we can put out for our viewers is that there were two people who were detained for questioning in connection